Good evening. We're ready to begin. This Planning Commission meeting is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded and can be viewed live on City of Las Vegas TV on Cox Cable Channel 2. You can also watch the meeting live online and access other city content by visiting lasvegasnevada.gov/connect. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on City of Las Vegas TV the Saturday after the meeting at 10 a.m. Monday at midnight and the following Tuesday at 6 p.m. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. City Clerk, will you please call roll?
Chair Kasama.
Present.
Vice Chair Schlottman.
Present.
Commissioner Rogan.
Present.
Commissioner Taylor.
Present.
Commissioner DeSalvio.
Present.
Commissioner LeBeau.
Present.
Commissioner Walters.
Present.
Thank you, Chair. You have a quorum.
Thank you. I call to your attention the information printed in your agenda concerning our actions and the appeal and review process if appropriate. Please read this carefully, and if you have any questions, staff is available. Also, the second page of the agenda contains our rules of conduct. We appreciate your adhering to these rules so we can have a smooth meeting. Thank you. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters on the agenda for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. All comments made under this item for specific action items will be cross-referenced to those items. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda? Please come forward and state your name. Okay, not a problem. So if you'd like to come forward. So each individual item will have its own public comment. This is general public comment.
Oh, I will wait for the individual item.
Not a problem, thank you. With that, we will move on to agenda item 5. May we have a motion to approve the minutes of the Planning Commission meeting of June 16th, 2026?
Move to approve.
Motion carries. We are moving on to our housekeeping items. Are there any items that commissioners, staff, or applicants or members of the public would like to pull forward for action?
Madam Chair, Nicole Eddowes for the record. The applicant is requesting to hold item number 7 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. The applicant is requesting to hold item number 23 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. The applicant is requesting to hold item number 26 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. The applicant is requesting to hold item number 32 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. The applicant is requesting to hold item number 35 to the September 8th Planning Commission meeting, and staff is requesting to hold item number 38 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. Staff is requesting to hold item number 39 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting, and staff is requesting to hold item number 40 to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who would wish to speak on any of the housekeeping items? Seeing none, Vice Chair, can I have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, through you, on items 7, 23, 26, 32, 38, 39, and 40, I move to hold those items in advance to the August 11th Planning Commission meeting. And on item number 35, move to hold that in advance till the September 8th Planning Commission hearing.
Motion carries. That brings us to our consent agenda. Consent items are considered routine by the Planning Commission and may be enacted by one motion. However, any item may be discussed if a commission member or applicant so desires. Vice Chair, may I have a motion for approval?
Yes, Madam Chair, through you, I move to approve consent agenda items number 8 and 9.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, items 8 and 9 are final action unless appealed within 7 days. Thank you.
We now move on to one motion, one vote. The following are items that may be considered in one motion, one vote. They are considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items with staff recommendation of approval. All public hearings and non-public hearings will be opened at one time. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or a member of the Planning Commission not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this part of the agenda. Item 10, 26-0191 SUP1, applicant Better Days Recovery Center, owner Infinity LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for a proposed facility to provide testing, treatment, or counseling for drugs or alcohol abuse use at 2330 Paseo del Prado Suites 107 and 109. Item 11, 26-0245 SUP1, applicant Bad Ash Group LLC, owner Gerby Investments at 2 LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for a major amendment to an approved special use permit 21-0673 SUP1 for a proposed 3,000 square foot expansion of an alcohol on-premise full use with a 525 square foot outdoor patio area at 1606 South Commerce Street. And that is the end of our one motion, one vote. Vice Chair may I have a motion?
Public comment?
Yes, now is the time for public comment on any of the items under the one motion, one vote. Is there anyone in the public who would like to speak at this time? Please come forward. And please state your name for the record.
Good evening, Madam Chairwoman, Kristen Schuler-Heinz. I am a resident at 2209 Paseo del Prado, which is extremely close to the location of this proposed rather large facility. We are a very small neighborhood on a very small street, and you are proposing to substantially increase the amount of traffic in a small residential neighborhood. Where we have already had a number of accidents from people driving far too fast down this little street, and now you're proposing to put a drug and alcohol treatment center maybe 250 feet from my front door. This will also run along the back of all of my neighbors' yards, where these people will have court-ordered drug and alcohol treatment. There is already a surgery center there that has controlled traffic because they have a very limited footprint. We have a huge problem with the homeless, and now you want to add more people with mental health issues into my neighborhood. I do not appreciate it, and I vehemently oppose it. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Jeffrey Stafford. I also live at 2209 Paseo del Prado. I am also an educator. I teach at a neighborhood school, Rexbell Elementary. That school is less than a half a mile from the proposed site. Also, school buses drop off for the high school right in front at Sahara, which is less than 200 yards away. Next year, Rexbell Elementary School will be transformed into a special education specific school. And I am concerned about the center being there with the influx of special education children coming in. I am very opposed to this facility being put in at this location. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Staff, I'll recommend pulling the item number 10 to a public hearing item. Yeah, so with that, should I? All right, so with that, we will be pulling agenda item 10, but we will be closing the public comment at this time for one motion, one vote. So Vice Chair, may I please have a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, through you. On item number 11, 2026-0245 SUP1, I move to approve subject to staff's conditions.
And excuse me, Madam Clerk, my computer is frozen. I'm going to have to voice vote and would request some help from IT. Oh. Oh, never mind. Vice Chair fixed it. He does everything.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us now to public hearing items. And with that, I'm going to reopen Agenda Item 10, 26-0191 SUP1, applicant Better Days Recovery Center, owner Infinity LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for a proposed facility to provide testing, treatment, or counseling for drug or alcohol abuse use at 2330 Paseo del Prado, Suites 107 and 109. Staff, may you please get the report.
Yes, Madam Chair, this is Christian Gates, Department of Community Development. For the record, staff has determined the proposed use is compatible and harmonious with the surrounding area, as there are care-related uses and other commercial uses within the shopping center and surrounding area. As such, staff recommends approval of the requested special use permit subject to conditions. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I would ask the applicant to come forward in the audience, if there is the applicant. Thank you. And can you please address some of the concerns from the previous public comment? Thank you.
How you doing? Well, for one, I wanted to say, it said that the owner is Infinity LLC. We addressed that. That's actually that's the landlord of the buildings.
Can you also please give your name for the record?
So I'm Gary Jackson, with Better Days Recovery Center.
Okay, and I will coordinate with staff to understand the owner that is listed on the record, but we understand now that it is the landlord. But can you please give a little bit more background about what you're trying to do at this center and address some of the concerns? Thank you.
Yes. First off, good evening, Chairperson and members of the Planning Commission. My name is Gary Jackson, and I'm the owner of Better Days Recovery Center. Thank you for providing the time for our request for a special use permit. Our mission is simple. We provide individuals struggling with substance abuse disorders a safe and professional and supportive environment where they can begin the journey of lasting recovery. We recognize that addiction affects not only individuals, but also families and neighborhoods, workplaces, and communities as a whole. Our goal is to help rebuild their lives through evidence-based treatment, accountability, and education with compassionate care. Better Days Recovery Center will operate an outpatient-only treatment facility. This means that clients will come to scheduled appointments and counseling sessions, and they will return to their homes afterwards. This is not a residential facility, a sober living home, or overnight program. The services we intend to provide is substance use assessments, individual counseling, group counseling, intensive outpatient program, relapse prevention education, case management, and support, recovery support services, DUI education, counseling, and treatment services as permitted and by licensing requirements, and domestic violence education and treatment services as permitted by licensing requirements. Our objective is to help individuals develop healthy coping skills, maintaining long-term recovery, and improve family relationships, reducing criminal behavior, and becoming more productive members of our community. We understand that operating operating responsibility within the neighborhood is extremely important. Because of that, we have developed policies and procedures designed to ensure our program operates professionally and respectfully. These include scheduled appointments to manage client flow, staff supervision during all operating hours, a clean, safe, and well-maintained facility, compliance with all local, state, and federal regulations, cooperation with the City of Las Vegas and all applicable regulatory agencies, and respect for the neighborhood and businesses and surrounding property owners. Our goal is to be a positive community partner, not a burden to our surrounding area. We believe that access to quality behavioral health and substance abuse strengthens communities. Every person who successfully completes treatment represents another individual who is healthier and more stable and better equipped to contribute positively to our society. This special use permit is an important step in allowing us to bring these much needed services to our community. We are fully committed to operate responsibly, maintaining high professional standards, and complying with every condition placed upon our approval. On behalf of Better Days Recovery Center, I respectfully ask for your approval for this special use permit for our application. Thank you.
Thank you. And besides the ones who have already spoken during the previous public comment, is there anyone else in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Rogan.
Madam Chair, I got a question for the applicant.
Oh, yes.
Question I have is, you say there'll be therapy, so I just want to know, does this location, will it have narcotics on site, or your therapy strictly like a one-on-one type of therapy?
Oh, no, this is counseling only. We don't prescribe any medications. This is not like a methadone clinic. There's no drugs on hand. We don't prescribe any medication whatsoever.
Okay, and the reason why I asked it is I think the person that came before to give public comment, I think just by the tone of her voice and being around long enough to understand, I think that was one of the concerns probably which she was worried about, is if there was going to be some type of medications on site, which is going to, you know, maybe somebody might want to try to break into the facility and then, you know, that kind of stuff. So this is strictly therapy as far as one-on-one counseling that you would be providing.
Strictly counseling, so we'll do individual counseling and also group, in group settings, but small groups.
And as far as you talked about, you would have a controlled scheduling. So explain to me, like staff-wise, at any given time, how many patients would you see a day, and what does your staff look like?
Okay, so at the most, we'd have up to between 8 and 10 patients a day. When we do our group sessions, that's going to be the largest class size. On the days we do the group therapy, but even on the days that we do the individual therapy, it's still going to be limited to between 8 and 10 patients a day.
Okay, and then what is your projected business hours? It's not a 24-hour thing, right? It's like a 9 to 5?
No, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m.
8 to 6. Okay, that's my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rogan.
Sir, if you could just come back. You can hang out there for until we're done. That's
Absolutely.
fine. So just to follow up, I've looked at your application. It looks like you have a very small office within there.
Very small.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't anticipate that you're going to have a lot of traffic with 8 to 10 patients per day showing up.
No.
Okay. And just in terms of what you're doing, the way you described it, it sounds like you're going to be doing things that are very similar, if not the same, as holding AA meetings or NA meetings, which are routinely done in community centers and churches. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. And then you may have individual therapy, but it's not with a licensed doctor.
It is. It's with a licensed with a
licensed therapist.
Counselor. Yes.
Right, but not a prescribing MD or DO. Okay.
We won't be prescribing any medications, and also we're not going to do any testing in-house. Any testing is going to be outsourced out.
Okay. And just from your description too, it sounds like what you're also going to be doing is, say somebody picks up a DUI and as the court orders DUI counseling, you'll be doing that as well.
Correct.
Okay. I mean, this seems very similar to things that we've approved in the past in areas like this. They're all over the place. I don't know why we'd treat this one any differently than any other type of counseling agency that does this. Most of these counseling agencies operate without a problem. I've never seen one come back to us for a revocation of an SUP since I've been on this body since 2019. So I'm comfortable making a motion for approval at this point.
Please do.
With regard to agenda item 10, project 26-0191 SUP1, make a motion for approval of the SUP subject to any of staff's conditions.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item will move forward to the August 19th, 2026 City Council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to agenda item 12, abeyance 26-0013, applicant owner 2331 MLK Investment LLC for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests at 2333 North Martin L. King Boulevard. Ward 5, 12A, abeyance 26-0013 VAR1 to allow 15 parking spaces where 20 are required. 12B, abeyance 26-0013 SUP1 for proposed motor vehicle parts sales, installation, and repair, motor vehicle repair minor use. 12C, abeyance 26-0013 SDR1 for proposed one-story, 2,921 square foot auto repair garage development and parking lot reconfiguration, with a waiver of Title 19.08 development standards to allow bay doors to face the right-of-way where such is not allowed. Staff, may I please get the report?
Madam Chair, staff finds the proposed use to be too intense for the subject site as evidenced by the requested parking variance, waiver to allow service bay doors to face the right-of-way, and exception to allow 0 parking lot trees where 6 are required. Therefore, staff recommends denial of the variance, special use permit, and site development plan review. Please note there is a blue sheet staff report in your supplemental packet. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, I will ask the applicant to come down if they are in the audience for agenda item 12. Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Dennis Santiago, representing MLK Investments. Commissioner Lebo, DeSalvio, Rogan, Lowenstein, Chair Kasama, Commissioner Taylor, and Commissioner Walters. I would like to read a statement, and I have pics of the improvements that were made at the property and of the adjacent corridor, other properties that don't comply with what we're complying with or my client's complying with. So I would like to say that at the previous City Council hearing, the applications were held in abeyance to allow additional review parking, landscaping, and site improvements. Since that meeting, the property owner has worked diligently to address the council's comments to improve the site on the comments that were addressed. The revised site plan, you can see it right here, through the camera, right here. Here's the pics I'm going to discuss. Here's the improvements that the owner did diligently. And here are the other properties that have garages facing the right-of-way, with one particular one here that's 23 feet from the CMU, or the concrete masonry unit, to the back of the sidewalk. They have 23 feet, plus or minus. The other one, the other facility here doesn't have as much parking, also as MLK Investments has here, if you see on the site plan, with all the trees. All these trees have been planted, as you can see here, and he's going to plant 2 additional ones over here. He has handicap parking also that the other ones don't have, and they are fully operational along the corridor of MLK. So the parking and site design, the revised site plan demonstrates that the property provides ample off-street parking compared to the other properties that are doing business. This has 4 bay doors. This one has 1. And the one that we're proposing, you can see what the owner has done here. He has absolutely cleaned the property. And he's 80 feet plus or minus from the back of sidewalk, when this one is 23 feet, and this one, I didn't measure this one, but it's probably around 50 feet, or maybe 60 feet by looking at it. So with this comparisons, I don't see why you would deny in these exhibits, he has ample parking and ample turnaround for traffic, which other properties don't have, and they're existing doing business. So I move this for approval. I don't see why it would be declined when he is in compliance. He's worked very hard. He's repainted and cleaned up the property, as you can see here. It's all cleaned up compared to the prior pics that were demonstrated. And so I move, if you can or will, so these folks can go to work, and the establishment looks nice, and there's trees. We took that seriously, or the owner did. He took it seriously. He planted trees, and the food truck will be moved. If you see the site plan here, the site plan shows that the food truck will be 20 feet from the back wall, right here, from the back wall, and that would be a way in compliance with the fire requirements. So the food truck will be moved after getting approval. So I move for approval. There's no reason, when you can see the other comparisons of the other properties, they don't come near to what the owner has presented here.
Thank you. And with that, I will open up for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on agenda item 12 at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Hi. I first want to start by saying there are some great improvements. The tires have been removed, and you guys have painted the building. We appreciate that. And I see in your plan here today that you have 6 trees marked out. Does that mean you'll be closing off the entrance, the second entryway into those lots? Because it is combined entryway with the business next door. Is that correct?
There is a entryway here that I'm not familiar as far as the history of it, and that would be right here, in that it's a property line, so we wouldn't touch it. That is adjacent to the property that was done in the past. So I mean, if you have a recommendation to close it, we would address it. If that's going to clear the opening or approval, then of course we would comply. The 2 trees are not planted yet. There's one's on the north side. These are not planted. They planted 2 in the rear back there, so they are planting by the container. There are 2 additional trees back there, but they will comply with this other 2. They work very hard and then they're going to continue to work to keep this site in a manner that's acceptable and not an annoyance, but an improvement to the corridor of MLK.
Okay. Is there irrigation to the trees that you have recently planted?
There's no irrigation at this moment. No, they didn't have the time to cut all that, and they couldn't find the additional. But they will put that on a clock, and they will do that, and you can have an inspection on it, or have code enforcement check, or whoever checks it.
So we had I had a lot of concerns with this property, as we discussed, including with a lot of the code and violations. And one of them was with landscaping, and others were with compliance issues. At this Planning Commission meeting, we are supposed to approve the plans, which your updated plans were received this morning. At this point, I don't think that these plans adhere to all of the requirements that we discussed last time. We want you to have a successful business. We want to move this forward, but we still need to be in compliance, especially at this property, as we discussed.
What's lacking on the plan, on the site plan there?
There are several landscaping concerns that this plan does not adhere to, and
what are the concerns on the landscaping besides the irrigation?
ground cover?
Yeah, well, that will be addressed. The ground cover will, they were put in, and they have to have a berm because of the heat, to keep them wet, very wet. But they will do the covering with landscaping to beautify the sidewalk and in the back.
So in this plan, I also want to ask about the gate in the back. Is that, it's not shown on the plan, but it's at the property? Is that something that would come down?
That would be removed for the truck, yes. Unless the
Completely
truck would stay there, that would be a security issue then.
And the food truck, which is often sitting out in the front, very on top of the parking spaces on the south side along the property line, and often blocking this area and partially in the driveway in, the only one that would be available now. I see that you have that moved to the back. I did come to the property and talk to the food truck owner, who was unaware that their food truck would be moving to the back, very back behind the building of the property, and was unwilling to do that. So I think there might also be some communication issues with the plan, and
Well, it's not up to him. He's paying the owner of the property, and we don't report, I didn't report to him on the plan, so he's unaware even of this meeting. So he has a permit, he has a moving permit and a permanent permit. I didn't see it myself exactly, but I have pictures of pics of all the permits on the truck. I do have that on my phone if you like. I can pull them up. And he does have a moving permit and a permanent permit. And the owner said he could have them relocate also. So he doesn't have to be in the rear of the property also. The owner of the MLK Investments LLC said that he could relocate if that did not bring him any business because of moving it. But he would have to move it, yeah, to be in compliance so we could, so they can open.
well, one of the concerns, and the reason I bring it up, is because there have been multiple business license applications and also code enforcement on the open air vending and that food truck there. So
Okay,
that's
I'm not
also,
familiar with those code violations from the food truck, only with the doors. That's the only one I'm familiar with the doors, which would be a building issue, I suppose, to address and to turn in plans with architectural engineering and get a permit for that.
okay, let me ask one more question. You said that there were trees planted in the back of the property?
Well, let me see, it's on the site plan, it would be right exactly, right here by the container. I'm sorry, by the proposed garbage enclosure. Right between that and the open space back here, there are two already in place. These two are missing right now. These are not planted yet, but they will be planted. And as far as the landscaping, the ground cover, that's minimal now. That's just right now to get those trees out of shock. And as far as what the owner mentioned to me, because I did mention that part, they probably want it all cleaned up. I said, well, we will. It's just, we will.
So based on our conversation last month at this meeting and the abeyance to this month, the expectation was that you would come with a plan that was fully fleshed out and adhered, as I stated, adhered to all of the guidelines that were being presented. And at this point, I'm just not really sure that all of those have been fleshed out on this plan, so. Well,
The owners, the meeting was to go for approval. We went ahead and he wanted to address this to be in compliance. So the owner, went ahead of time, not promising that the trees are going in, but he put them in. He put an investment in there, and he cleaned up the property, painted it, and I said, well, the painting makes a huge difference, the cleanup, and for the corridor, it's clean, and then the groundwork will need to do, the parking, as far as the asphalt, it can be repaired where it needs repair. So all of that I've mentioned already, and he's willing to comply. He has put time and money into this already, and you can see the difference from the other pics. It's a huge difference. Yeah, so.
Okay, thank you. Does Chair, if anyone else has questions?
Is there anyone else on the commission? Commissioner Rogan?
I mean, I echo the same concerns of Commissioner Walters. I mean, I think the only reason that you're actually here is because of the numerous code violations that were reported in our staff report. I mean, time after time, operating a business without a license, operating a business without a license, code enforcement case opened. And finally, in December of 24, so a year and a half ago, unlicensed business, the resolution of this code enforcement case is pending the outcome of our decision tonight. And then to understand that what you're telling me is that he's put a lot of investment into this property already. What you're really saying is he was putting investment into this property while operating without a business license, without going, let me finish.
Yeah.
Without going through the proper processes again and again. And I note that your client has owned this property since 2015. So all of these code violations from 2015 to today were all on your client's watch. And so I don't want to put words in Ms. Walters' mouth, but what we're asking you to do, and what we asked you to do last month, was come and show us that you're serious about complying with the code. And what you've submitted to us tonight is not. You've only, you're making minimal efforts here to comply with the code by putting these street trees in, making little effort to bring up that area to an acceptable level of development. Simply painting the building and putting in 6 street trees without irrigation is just completely insufficient in my view. And so I can't support your application until you show me through a different site plan or a landscape plan that you're serious about this corner, this property. And I know you're adjacent right to the Pearson Community Center. We really need this corner brought up to code. The last thing I want to point out is it's great that you brought comparators to us to look at, but we don't have any context. I don't know when those sites were approved. I don't know what the code was at that time. They may have been fully compliant with the then existing code. They wouldn't be compliant now. I don't know whether they got any variances or waivers as you were asking for tonight. So while I appreciate that you're trying to say, don't treat me any differently than these folks, we don't have the full context to really take that into account. So I'm not taking that into account. All I'm taking into account here is your minimal efforts to comply with our code.
Okay, Commissioner, I appreciate your opinion, and that's a good opinion. But as far as all the violations, the owner recently took it over himself, the property, and he's been renting it, and he did violate the law several times. But before that, all the other violations, those he rented those to other parties, according to what was said to me. I didn't read all the complaints or most of them or any of them, except for the code violation. I spoke with the code enforcement regarding the garage. But as far as all the other ones, I'm not familiar with, but he was renting it to different parties and they were applying for permits. So that's why you have the monumental, probably, I don't know how many you have there. So they were denied and this and that, but that's why you have them, because he was renting it to different folks. So now he wants to himself run it as the tire place. He has someone to run it. So that's the reason. As far as minimal compliance, I don't believe that's minimal compliance. They put a lot of effort into it. They were reporting to me, which they didn't have to. I'm doing the presentation for them. And they said, yeah, we're planting the trees, we're gonna do the landscaping. I said, well, you'll make sure you clean it up. I said, well, we'll do that. Okay, well, I was acting as the inspector for them, and where they were asking me, and so they were working hard and trying hard. But like I said, he rented this prior, and those were applicants before, and they were turned down, of course, and they operated without a permit, and then they were shut down eventually. But as far as the effort, there was an effort put into this. You can see there was an effort put into it. Not maybe the effort that, I'm not gonna say you, those, meaning that you were expecting. I can see that, yeah, that I would need a stop on each side and landscaping in between, and of course the irrigation, and he can comply with that to open this corridor. The other, like I said, the other ones, if that doesn't matter, these other ones don't have any landscape, they don't have any trees, and after going through all this, he's gonna be under the microscope. He will be addressing this more seriously, as he started to already. He wants to open, and the behavior will change, the behavior. And if it doesn't change, of course, if the attitudes and behaviors of conducting yourself in a manner that's approved by the city, then there's consequences, and that's with anything, with anybody. So I still would like I said, that to consider this, since he did put an effort to it. The painting, that is an effort. The removal of the tires that were in the landscape, they were there for safety. It was brought out to, I believe you drove by there, you said they were there, they need to be removed, yeah. Well, they were there so someone wouldn't fall in. So what I did, I mentioned to him, I said, you need to put some yellow tape and some stakes with some cones on top, and that's what I said. So he said, I'll remove them, and that was the reason they were there, those tires. So just for someone not to fall, somebody drunk walking by the sidewalk and fall in the hole, there you go, you have a lawsuit, and so that was the reason. So as far as the effort, there is effort, Mr. Rogan, that they have put into it.
Thank you. And with that, are there any other members of the commission that have any other comments? With that, Commissioner Walters, are you ready to make a motion?
I'm ready. Yes, I make a motion on abeyance 26-0013 for denial.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days.
Thank you. We move on to agenda item 13, abeyance 26-0048, applicant owner Umbra Holdings LLC for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests at the southeast corner of Harrison Avenue and H Street, Ward 5. 13A, abeyance 26-0048, VAR1 to allow vehicles to back out onto right-of-way Harrison Avenue where such is not allowed. 13B, abeyance 26-0048, SDR1 for proposed 3-story, 6-unit multifamily residential condominium development with waivers of Title 19.09 Form-Based Code Development Standards. 13C, abeyance 26-0048, TMP1 residence at Harrison for a proposed 6-unit condominium subdivision. Staff, may I please get the report?
Yes, Madam Chair, while the proposed development would introduce additional housing stock into the historic West Side District and would otherwise redevelop a parcel that is underutilized, the proposed development is not compatible or harmonious with the surrounding area. This is evidenced by the requested waivers and variance of Title 19 requirements, which staff has determined is a self-imposed hardship. As such, staff recommends denial of all requested entitlements subject to conditions if approved. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, is the applicant in the audience and would they like to come down and speak on this agenda item? Seeing none, I will turn over to public comment at this time. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to give comment on agenda item 13? Seeing none, I will close public comment, turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Thank you. On this particular abeyance, we have not heard from the applicants in a while, and I do have safety concerns about backing out onto the right-of-way. It is much too close to the intersection, and for that reason, I'm ready to make a motion. Anyone else has comments?
Seeing no other comments from any other commissioners, are you ready to make a motion?
I make a motion on abeyance 26-0048 for denial.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to agenda item 14, abeyance 26-0073, VAR1, applicant Sam Dunham, owner SC Dunham Revocable Trust, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow an existing residential accessory structure, carport, that does not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for separation and setbacks at 4016 Villa Flores Street, Ward 5. Staff, may you please get the report?
Madam Chair, this is Holden Weissman, Department of Community Development for the record. Staff finds that no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance has been presented to warrant the requested variance. As such, the hardship is self-imposed, and staff recommends denial of the variance subject to conditions if approved. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, please give your name for the record.
Sam Dunham, good evening. I'm the applicant, obviously, on this application. And this is a carport on the side of my house. It's in a small community of 59 lots. I have approval from my HOA. I have approval from my 5 adjacent neighbors. And there's, within this 59 lot subdivision, there are 2 carports exactly like this. One just north of me and another one just northeast of me. within the notification area, I counted probably another 10 or so carports with the same conditions. So, and then Commissioner Walters came out to the house one afternoon. Thank you for doing so. She probably has an opinion on this, but I'd like your approval.
Thank you. And with that, I am going to open up for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on agenda item 14? Seeing none, I will close public comment. And, oh, was that a hand raise over there? Nope. Okay, with that, I will close public comment and move it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Yes, thanks for meeting with me and supplying the letter from the HOA and from your neighbors. I don't know if we need to give that to anybody.
Would you like a member of staff
Sure.
to hold up?
Yes. I'll give that to them. I did see numerous other carports in the neighborhood and did look at some of the postcards that were received that were opposed to it. They lived in completely different neighborhoods, and your immediate neighbors were in favor. So if there are no other questions, I'm ready to make a motion.
Seeing none, would you like to make a motion?
Sure. On abeyance 26-0073, I make a motion to approve with staff conditions. Do you agree to staff conditions?
Do you agree to staff conditions?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, this item is going to move forward to the August 19th, 2026 City Council meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we move to agenda item 15, abeyance 26-0162, VAR1. Applicant Shirley Hughes, owner Hughes Family Trust, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow an existing patio cover carport that does not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for setbacks at 4329 Eugene Avenue, Ward 5. Staff, may please get the report.
Yes, Madam Chair, this variance is the result of an open code enforcement case. No evidence of unique or extraordinary circumstance related to the physical characteristics of the property have been presented to warrant the requested variance. As such, the hardship is self-imposed, and staff recommends denial of this request, subject to conditions if approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant in the audience at this time? Please come forward and give your name for the record.
Hi, Sherry Alexander, and Shirley Hughes is my mother. I'm here to speak for her.
My daughter another daughter lives with me, helps take care of me, and she has a small car, and we didn't have shade for this little car. As a result, we had to get a brand new convertible top for it, which was quite costly. And when I had this put up, I had no idea that I needed a permit, because I've lived in that neighborhood for 50 years. I'm one of the, I think there's 3 other people that live in that neighborhood that have been there that long. It was a very nice neighborhood, a family neighborhood, but it has since become quite run down. And there are other similar carports and structures that are on properties that I know there's no way that they could have passed. There's one in particular that has been put up with corrugated metal and plywood and some kind of a screening type thing. It goes right up to the property line, to the fence. Now on this one, I had, it's very nice looking. I had it conform to the way the house looks. And I made sure that any runoff of rainwater would not go over onto my neighbor's property. So I had a gutter and drain spout put on it so that if we ever get any rain, it would drain onto my property and not onto my neighbors. I've had no complaint from any of the neighbors. As a matter of fact, some of them stop by and they mark how cute it is that this little car is sitting in this little carport. So, you know, I had no idea that I needed a permit, considering some of the other properties there.
Yeah, she's basically just requesting to keep the carport as is. She you know, she had it done professionally, done years ago to help with my sister. We got a letter from the next door neighbor who's on the property line, and they said that it was fine. They didn't have a problem, and I think someone else had turned in a card saying that it was fine. And I believe Commissioner Walters came out the other day and spoke to my mom to see it and my sister. So we're just requesting approval for it.
Thank you. And with that, I will open up for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience at this time who would like to speak on agenda item 15? Seeing none, I will close public comment and turn it over to members of the commission. Commissioner Walters?
Yes, hi. As I understand, you had a licensed contractor build your carport. Is that correct?
I didn't understand that.
Yes, I think so. She has the.
But they didn't get a permit at the time. Okay. That's okay. I did, there was no objections from your neighbors. I think you're being generous when you say that there are similar ones in the neighborhood, because I thought yours was far nicer than many of the ones I saw on that street and next door. So if anyone has any other questions, I'm ready to make a motion.
Seeing none, please do.
On abeyance 26-0162, I motion to approve with staff conditions. Do you agree to staff conditions?
Yeah, what are the conditions? We haven't.
Are there conditions? May staff please read conditions?
Yes, Madam Chair, through you, I can go ahead and read the conditions if you want me to.
Please do.
So starting with condition number 1 of application 26-0162, that condition reads, a variance is hereby approved to allow a 0-foot side yard setback where 5 feet is required for an existing patio cover carport. Condition number 2 of application 26-0162 states, this approval shall be void 2 years from the date of final approval unless exercised pursuant to the provisions of LVMC Title 1916. An extension of time may be filed for consideration by the City of Las Vegas. Condition number 3 states, all necessary building permits shall be obtained and final inspection shall be completed in compliance with Title 19 and all codes as required by the Building and Safety Division. Condition number 4 states, these conditions of approval shall be affixed to the cover sheet of any plan set submitted for a building permit. And condition number 5 states, all city code requirements and design standards of all city departments must be satisfied except as modified herein. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, do you say, are you a yes on the staff conditions?
Well, what exactly does that mean? She doesn't understand what she has to do. Is it just applying for the permit to get the permit?
Nicole? Yes.
That's accurate through you, Madam Chair. So it is saying that the approval is good for a 2-year time frame. In that time frame, you must go get a permit. That's the part where it says comply with all the city codes. Once you get the permit, the time frame stops, and then it is final.
Okay.
At that point.
Yeah, so you just have to apply for the permit.
Okay.
Okay. So do you agree?
I have a choice.
You tear it down, I don't think that'll work.
So
Yes.
you agree to staff conditions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that's going to move forward to City Council on August 19th.
Thank you. With that, we move to agenda item 16, abeyance 26-0184, applicant Black Development LLC, owner Bisme Series Holding, Series 2 LLC, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests on the south side of Sky Point Drive, approximately 315 feet west of Teneo Way, Ward 6. 16A, abeyance 26-0184, SUP1, for a proposed auto repair garage minor use. 16B, abeyance 26-0184, SUP2, for a proposed restaurant with drive-through use. 16C, abeyance 26-0184, SDR1, for a proposed one-story 1,872 square foot restaurant with drive-through and a one-story 3,285 square foot auto repair development with waivers of Town Center Development Standards Manual. Staff may please get the report.
Madam Chair, due to the requested waivers for building and parking location, staff recommends denial of both special use permits and the site development plan review. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, please state your name for the record.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Tony Celeste, address 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, here on behalf of the applicant. If I can direct your attention to the overhead. Thank you. As you can see right here, the site is highlighted in yellow. It is about 1 acre. It is part of a larger commercial subdivision that you can see parcels that are located to the west and then several parcels to the east. Just to orient you first with this request or the property, you can see it on the west side is the US 95 or I-11 and the on-ramp for traffic heading north. To the south is Ann Road, and then to the north is Sky Point. What you'll notice here on our site plan, as you can see, is that our parcel does not have a specific curb cut to Sky Point. Rather, as I mentioned, this is part of a larger commercial subdivision. There are multiple access points with cross access and cross parking throughout this site here, in particular one immediately to the west and then several to the east. With respect to some of the uses that surround us, just starting from the west working east, you can see to the west right here is an existing animal hospital. Immediately to the east is a tavern. It is called The Lodge. Just east of that is a hotel that is a Fairfield Inn. And then east of that, really at the corner of Sky Point and Ann, is a 7-Eleven, a gas station that is branded by Chevron, and several other inline retail commercial uses. Our request, we have 2 use permits that we're requesting. The first is with respect to the southern portion of the site located here. It is a proposed Meineke, or rather under the Title 19 and Town Square, or excuse me, Town Center Development Standards, it is an auto repair use characterized as minor. You can see it'll be located in this building to the south. We will have a total of 6 bays, 3 facing to the west, 3 facing to the east. We think this is a very good location for it. It is tucked back on the southern end of the property. You can see right here would be the on-ramp to the I-11 or US 95. Again, as the staff notes in their report, it meets all of the minimum separation requirements, in particular to any residential use. The next use permit is the northern building right here. It is a proposed quick service restaurant. It is this building right here that triggers 2 of the waivers that are before you. The first one is with respect to the building orientation or location. Per Town Center, the building should be located along the property line at this point right here. However, as I mentioned earlier in my presentation, this is part of a commercial subdivision, and part of it, there is cross access and cross parking. As you can see how the site has developed out, right now the cross access point is right through here, drive aisle. We do not have any ability to relocate that existing condition. As you can see right here, for example, this is along the west property line, or line that we share with the animal hospital. There is already landscape easements, parking. You can see curb returns already located, various improvements that we have inherited. The same goes for the east side of the property. You can see right here, this is looking again along our east property line where the tavern is. And you can see we have 2 cross access points. This is on the south, and then another portion on the north right here. And again, you have landscaping, parking, and a curb through there. So really we are limited to where we can build because of the cross access that currently goes along the north, and then kind of like an S shape along our east property line with 2 points to provide farther to the east location here, and then a secondary access point here. And these already right here are the improved areas on other properties. So really we have positioned this building as far to the north and as close to the property line as we can. So again, we don't feel like that is something that we can overlook. We cannot build on top of this cross access. So this is something that is not self-imposed in our opinion. The second waiver is with respect to the drive-through configuration. Under Town Center, it's preferred to have the drive lane only rotate around 2 elevations or 2 portions, 2 faces of the elevation. As you can see right here, we do have a third right here that loops around heading to the north. We think this is a very important drive aisle. This location right here, as it provides safety and prevents any conflicting traffic moving from the cross-access easements that is in this location. The call box or order window would be located to the south, and the pickup window is along the east elevation through here. We did hold this application a month ago because, much to my surprise, we were quite deficient on the landscaping. So we did revise our landscape plan, and as you can see from your staff report, we no longer have any waivers with respect to landscaping. In particular, we buffered extensively the landscaping along the south property line here, adding the trees that were required, as well as trees required through here in our drive-through and the turning lane area. With that, we do accept all the conditions of approval, or the approved conditions, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. And with that, I will open up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Mr. Celeste. Thank you for all the work on this project. Still a little bummed that you don't have an end user for your restaurant, but that's okay. And I thank you for adding all the trees in. And I will note, and this is really maybe for a follow-up conversation with staff, I'm really familiar with that area. And as I was looking at your neighboring businesses, they seem to be incredibly deficient in landscaping, and I don't know what the status of their approvals were, whether they are in violation right now, but possibly staff and I can have a discussion about that, but I really appreciate what you've done. Could I impose upon you one other tree, though?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And it's in your triangle, if you could put one in the middle of those parking spaces so that you've got some coverage on those parking spaces, because you've got one on the end, and then you've got one by the Meineke, then you've got one on the other end. Yeah, basically right where your pen is. Yep.
Yes, that's acceptable.
Okay, great. And I think if it's not already in there, we can do the language about large, fast-growing trees on the Southern Nevada Water Authority list, the 3-inch caliper at 6 inches above grade, no palm trees, no pine trees.
Yes, I forgot. We did remove the palm tree as well. I forgot to mention
thank
that.
you.
Yes.
Well, and
yes, thank you.
I hope that's not going to create an issue, but.
No.
Madam Chair, through you, if I could ask, please, if Mr. Celeste has a copy of that landscape plan that we could submit to the clerks.
Yes, of course.
And then with this moving on to City Council, between Planning Commission and City Council, if we could, we'll have that on the record, and then we can get the staff report updated. And then if he could also possibly get us a revised landscape plan demonstrating that extra tree that you have indicated tonight. And then I will just read into the record an added condition to address that additional tree you were asking for. So on the SDR 26-0184 SDR1, we would need to amend condition of approval number 4, which states all development shall be in conformance with the site plan date stamped June 15th, 2026, landscape plan date stamped July 14th, 2026, and building elevations date stamped April 22nd, 2026, except as amended by conditions herein. And then an added condition would read, 1 fast-growing large shade tree with a minimum 3-inch trunk caliper measured 6 inches from the base of the trunk in accordance with the Southern Nevada Regional Plant List shall be planted within the landscape buffer area south of the auto repair garage in order to shade the parking stalls. The use of pine and palm trees shall be prohibited. Thank you.
Thank you. And before moving on, Commissioner LeBeau, did you have any questions on this item?
Yeah, so I actually wanted to bring up something that we discussed earlier about the site. I understand that, it's a unique site where you have 2 tenants that are stacked on top of each other because of the length of the property. And one of my concerns was with that drive-through lane, having traffic possibly backing up into the main egress through that commercial shopping center. And so one of the suggestions that came up was to potentially put in an escape lane on that drive-through. And I'm just curious if you were able to explore that at all.
We did, and I do actually have a draft of one where we can see right here where it does do that in additional conversations with Commissioner Taylor. I guess we're amenable to either way. We can do the escape lane. We can't. We're open to the direction of this board, though. So I do. We had right here had a draft. I don't know if you can see it, Commissioner Lebo, but right here is where I believe when we discussed potentially having that relief or emergency exit through there. So again, we are amenable to either one, as well as adding that additional landscaping tree in the southern parking area there. So I will, I guess, defer to you guys on which site plan you prefer.
Madam Chair, if I can just, if Commissioner LeBeau and I can just sort of, and staff, if I can just ask a couple questions, because I think it's a really good idea, because how many times have you been stuck in a line in a drive-through? I guess my concern on this was just, did we lose landscaping? Did we, if we do this, do we lose landscaping? Do we sort of impinge on the city's view of wanting to have, what's the word I'm looking for? Like a screen for the drive-through. Does it in this particular location create any other sort of traffic clog points? But I think that going forward, I think it's a really fantastic idea, Commissioner LeBeau, to have these and to think about them early on in project development, because I think that you're right, that, you know, it does alleviate some of the potential for overflow. And I know that early in our discussions with Mr. Celeste, one of my concerns was he's right next to an animal hospital, going to have cars potentially stacked up with people walking their dogs in, and does that create any sort of risk or danger to the clients of the animal hospital? So I don't know, Ms. Eddowes, if you can maybe address like any concerns from the city.
Madam Chair, through you, the city does prefer in our zoning codes to have drive-throughs screened. It appears that the design that Mr. Celeste is presenting, that they would maintain the majority of the landscape buffer and would just create an exit area there. Doesn't look to appear to lose any trees. Town Center does leave the design of the drive-through to review. So the Planning Commission would have the ultimate decision to either approve or deny such design. Thank you.
And Madam Chair, if I can ask Commissioner LeBeau a question. Have you designed these and seen these put in practice before with the escape lanes?
Yes, they are favored.
And have they've been effective in terms of trying to move things out?
Correct, especially if you either have a very short drive-through lane where people need to pull over to wait for service, or if you have an extra long drive-through lane where people are waiting in line too long and they need to get out. So in either instance.
Do you have a sense in this, you know, so I know Mr. Celeste is still looking for a tenant, but do you have a sense that this kind of an option might even broaden opportunities for different tenants to come in there? Into that
I don't
space?
know if it will have that level of impact. I think it's more on maintaining the safety of egress into the site.
Okay. All right. And then another question for staff. Based on the way this is laid out with like the trash and the adjacency to the Meineke, are there any concerns about additional pinch points or traffic safety if they're coming out of that escape route, the escape lane?
Madam Chair, through you, my only concern is if somebody was being directed out of this particular drive-through to pull out and wait for food, that would block a drive aisle. This particular lot, the way it was designed, they really don't have the real estate to be able to create a staging area. They would then need to direct the cars to then go and park into a parking stall so that they did not block that drive aisle.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that would be untypical. I think it's very typical, actually, from the ones I've been to where you do pull out and you stage in a parking space, not the drive aisle itself or some loading zone area. You go to a parking stall.
Okay. I hate to drag this out, but I'm just curious if any of the other commissioners have thoughts on these two alternatives.
I can chime in. I can say that perhaps it's an interesting concept to explore at a later point, maybe not for this particular agenda item, but certainly happy to maybe have a conversation with staff and see if there's just more to explore in that for future applications.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much, Commissioner LeBeau, for raising this as an alternative. I think then, if there's no other comments, then I'd like to make a motion on this item with the original plan without the escape lane. And this is final. Is this final action tonight, Mr. Lowenstein? No, it's not. Okay. All right. It's not final action, so it could be potentially up for more discussion at City Council. But I'd like to make a motion on abeyance 26-0184 for approval, subject to all conditions and the added condition of one more tree in the triangle landscaping area to be able to shield the parking with the standard conditions and specifications of large, fast-growing, 3-inch caliper at 6 inches above grade. And you agree to all conditions?
I agree to all those conditions.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Celeste, for all your work on this.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, this item is going to move forward to City Council on August 19th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we move on to agenda item 17, 26-0010 VAR1, applicant owner Mitchell D. Streeter and Charlene W. Streeter for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow a proposed patio cover in existing residential accessory structures, sheds that do not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for setback, separation, and aesthetic compatibility at 8400 Mulcahy Avenue, Ward 1. Staff, may you please get the report?
Yes, Madam Chair, no evidence of unique or extraordinary circumstance related to the physical characteristics of the property have been presented to warrant the requested variance. As such, the hardship is self-imposed and therefore staff recommends denial of this variance request. If approved, they will be subject to conditions. Please note, additional letters of protest and support have been submitted since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Sure. Jessica Lane with Proficient Patios, representing Mr. Charlie Streeter. So we are here requesting a front setback reduction for a proposed patio cover to be used as like a carport area in the front of his residence. It would be of the Alumawood product. An 18-foot setback is required, and we would have a 10-foot setback. As we, going into detail on this, so it would be white in color, very similar to this, right? Obviously, this is showing in a backyard of a residence. Theirs would be in the front, and white in color to kind of match the color of his residence. That being said, when we submitted this application, there is no HOA for this community, by the way. When we did submit this application, someone from the city went out to the property and noticed that he had 2 sheds on the property. That was the exterior view I was able to get. We obviously didn't build these. These were already there existing. So they did request, staff did request for this to get added to the application. Thus, it did get added to the plot plan, having 1-foot setback on this one on the side, and on the rear having a 2-foot and a 3-foot setback for rear. So those did get added to the variance, I guess, just because they were on the property. That being said, this is one other additional item. This is 5 houses, so his property is right on the corner, 5 houses down. This is his front neighbor with pretty much very similar to what we're proposing to build for him here, a front carport in the front of the driveway. That is pretty much it as far as my end. If you guys have any questions, I'm open.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to open up for public comment on this agenda item. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you. Ms. Lang, I just want to start with the carport. So Your justification letter doesn't say any reason why this is being requested. Do you have any insight into that?
Yeah, so just with the number of family members, he doesn't have enough space in his garage, so it's attached right to his garage, so it's just for additional parking space.
It's not a situation where they're converting the garage into an additional bedroom or something like
Oh,
that?
no, and you couldn't. This type of aluminum cover, it can't support the weight of
I'm
walls.
sorry, the
or any-
garage is not being converted into another additional living space.
Oh, no, he told us it was because his son or something like that was in town.
Okay, and what's the actual size of the carport? I couldn't glean that from the agenda backup.
Let me see if I can give you that. I believe it's a 20-foot, but let me just take a look.
Your justification letter said 112 feet by 20 feet, so I know that's an error, so I'm just assuming it's probably 12 feet by 20 feet.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Okay, all right. And then, do you know anything about that adjacent neighbor that has, the 5 houses down, that has that carport as well? Because I did see that when I looked around. It's the only house with a similar structure, and that's primarily what I looked to. The remainder of this entire development does not have that carport, and I don't see that that person obtained any variances or pulled any permits for it. So do you know anything about that?
I don't. Just same thing. We just drove and he mentioned it to us, so we printed it out for today's meeting. But yeah, I'm not aware.
Okay. With regard to the sheds, I have a question for Mr. Cross, actually. Sorry to throw you. You jumped. I'm sorry I startled you. These small sheds, they're very close to the house. Do they go through any fire permitting process or review process? They're only about 18 or 20 square feet in size.
Madam Chair, through you, they do not go through a fire department review process. They do generally go through building review process with regards to distance to the structure or whatnot. And then depending on square footage of those, some of them are exempt also.
Exempt from fire rating?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, here's where I'm at, Ms. Lang. Generally speaking, what I look to is to see whether, with a carport on the front, it's much different than a carport to the side, where I'm really just looking, does the neighbor oppose it? Is that okay with the neighbor? The carports in the front are a different story, simply because they change the character of the neighborhood a little bit more, and then they incite other people to also justify putting in a carport, usually without a permit, without a variance. So I can't say that in this circumstance there's a lot of other houses with that similar carport in the front, other than the one that you pointed out. Again, that looks like it wasn't built with the proper approvals. Is there any other reason why I should go against what I normally do and deny this?
Why you should deny this?
No. Is there any other reason that you can give me why I should approve
Why
it?
you should not deny it?
Correct.
Well, I mean, it's going to match the color of the residence. He is going the same exact measurement of the width of the house, so it's not like an overly sized structure past, right? Like if we see on the elevation plans, I mean, it's literally just going from side to side, specifically the measurements of it. I just think, I mean, it matches the property, very similar. I mean, the color of the garage, I don't think it's something like, sticking out like a sore thumb. But of course, I know that's up to you guys to decide.
Yeah, I'm just super concerned about other people now wanting to do the same thing and then creating that precedent in the neighborhood. So I think generally we deny these. They occur more in Ward 3 with Commissioner Schlottman, and we've denied probably 90% of those same requests even when they're built. It's only the rare instance when we approve them. With regard to the sheds, they're really not aesthetically compatible. So what's the plan to make them aesthetically compatible with the house?
He doesn't really have much of a plan. I mean, I guess that was leaving it up to you guys that you're I mean, he already had them there years ago. Obviously, this just came up when this application came in, right? Okay. So I did address that, and he's like, I don't really have anything to make it any difference. Either, I guess, removing or, approving as is. I mean, the thing that I noticed is obviously just like the fire department official stated, normally, right, within under a certain square footage, it doesn't even require a permit as long as we have the proper setback, right? I know that's the issue we have here, right, where we're not within the foot or even here. Maybe perhaps, I don't even think he has enough space. Maybe, I mean, we'd be all the way close to the house. So I don't know. That's up to you guys on that one.
Well, here's where I'm at on that. I mean, I think they're too close. You're in a corner lot here and you're too close and it's visible over that block wall and it's not aesthetically compatible, either of them. So, you know, I think I'm in the unfortunate situation where I'm not in support of anything that you've brought forward tonight. Does anyone else have any comments before I make a motion?
Seeing none, ready for a motion?
All right. With regard to agenda item 17, project 26-0010 VAR1, and make a motion for denial for the entire project.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair.
Thank you.
That is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we move on to agenda item 18, 26-0121, applicant owner Lee J. LLC for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests on at 731 South 7th Street, Ward 3. 18A 26-0121 WVR1 to allow a 50-foot lot width where 60 feet is required. 18B 26-0121 ZON1 from PR Professional Office and Parking to PO Professional Office. 18C 26-0121 SDR1 for a major amendment to an approved rezoning and plot plan review Z001285 for the proposed conversion of an existing one-story, 1,498 square foot office into a rental store and parking lot reconfiguration with waivers of Appendix F Interim Downtown Las Vegas Development Standards, Area 2. Staff may please get the report.
Madam Chair, staff finds the proposed conversion and parking lot reconfiguration is compatible with the surrounding low-intensity office developments and will further economic diversification in downtown Las Vegas. As the requested waivers are minor in nature, staff recommends approval of the rezoning, waiver, and site development plan review. Please note an additional documentation of support was received after publication. Thank you.
Thank you with that, and may you please state your name for the record.
Good evening again, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Tony Celeste, address 1980 Festival Plaza Drive. Along with me is Diana Schiller, who is the owner of Lee J. LLC, as well as the applicant and property owner. As you can see, the site is highlighted here in yellow. It is located on 7th and Gas. This has a little bit of history leading us to this zone change. I think this board is fairly familiar with the background of this, so I'll just be high level on what has led us to here today. Back in 2023, Ms. Schiller purchased this property and was able to successfully transfer what was left of her business license term to the site from where she was renting previously at 618 6th Street. That property, I would note, was is zoned commercial. This is zoned a legacy zoning district called PR. When it came time to renew that business license, it was flagged and discovered that a dress rental shop is not permitted in the PR or today's PO equivalent zoning district. So what we have done with the help and assistance of Councilwoman Diaz's office and planning is process a text amendment that would allow, under kind of specific guidelines, a ability to do a dress rental in a PO zone district. This board did see that proposed text amendment last month, did recommend approval. It is now scheduled for tomorrow at the City Council agenda. In September, you will see us back again for a special use permit to actually allow the dress shop. What is before you tonight is really, I would consider, more housekeeping. We are asking for that zone change from the legacy zoning district of PR to PO, and then it is the site plan development review for the 1,200 square foot, what was a former resident that has been converted to an office or commercial building here, along with just shy of a 300-foot shed behind it for a total of less than 1,500 square feet. We do have a waiver with respect to the parking. We are deficient 1. We're providing 4 where 5 is. However, as staff has noted, there is plenty of reason as to why that parking waiver is appropriate. First, there is a lot of on-street parking for the public available. And number 2, based on the size and the fact this is an appointment, generally appointment only shop that the parking that we have along with the street parking would be sufficient. We do agree with all the conditions of approval, and we are more than happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. With that, I will open up for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? See none, I will close public comment and move it over to the members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Schlottman.
Yes, Madam Chair, I remember the text amendment last month and read through everything that we're doing here, and I completely understand where we're going. We're going to hear one more item next month, but this is compatible. Your use is compatible with the neighborhood, and I know you're operating with your temporary license or whatever, so I'm ready to make a motion on this.
Please do.
On, Madam Chair, on item 18, 26-0121, 18A, B, and C, move to approve subject to staff's conditions. And you agree to all staff's conditions, ma'am? Okay,
Yes,
thank
we
you.
do.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that's going to move forward to City Council on August 19th. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. And with that, we move on to agenda item 19, 26-0140 WVAR1, applicant owner 1420 Commerce LLC for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow a proposed front yard fence that does not conform to Title 19.08 development standards for height and materials razor wire at 1420 South Commerce Street, Ward 3. Staff, can I please get the report?
Yes, Madam Chair. While the 8-foot-tall wrought iron front yard fence is not detrimental to the public health, safety, or general welfare, razor is a prohibited fencing material and does not reflect the high level of concern for architectural and urban design principles. As such, staff recommends denial of the requested waivers subject to conditions if approved. Please note an additional letter of support has been submitted since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. And is the applicant in the audience at this time? Thank you. Please, when you come down, please state your name for the record.
Michelle Horton for 1420 Commerce.
And is there anything you would like to present on this agenda item?
The razor wire was as a last resort. We currently have a 6-foot chain link fence with razor wire and have considered both theft as in that area. The tenant of the last 10 years is a auto body and a towing company, and rims and tires and key fobs and considerable expenses are going over the fence with that existing height and the razor wire. We would prefer not to use the razor wire. We want to replace the chain link fence with a custom wrought iron shepherd hooked 8-foot fence. My request for the razor wire was down the road should we need it if the security isn't able to be maintained with just the fence alone.
Thank you. And with that, I will open up for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment, turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Schlottman.
Thank you, Madam Chair, through you. I have no fence with the shepherd fence and 8-foot and all being open. I know this area very well. I pass by this site daily. But razor wire, I can't get behind and never have ever approved it. I've been on this board for 14 years, and today is not going to be the day that I start approving it. So if we're willing to get rid of the razor wire, I can approve this fence. Okay. If I can ask planning staff to tell us how we're going to handle that.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you. So we could amend condition number 2 of application 260140 to state instead, a waiver of Title 1908.040 is hereby denied to allow razor wire along the proposed front yard fence where such material is not allowed.
And you agree with that amended condition and all other conditions if approved?
It's 8 foot. Am I understanding it correctly? You're approving 8 feet, but not the razor wire.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Madam Chair, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion. So I move to approve on item number 19, 26-0140 WVR1. Move to approve subject to staff's conditions and amended condition as read into the record by plan.
Thank you.
Commissioner Walter.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. We move on to agenda item 2026-0157, applicant owner Church of God in Christ, Inc., for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests at 839 Balzer Avenue, Ward 5, 20A, 26-0157 VR1 to allow a proposed building in an existing residential accessory structure, patio cover to not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for distance between buildings and separation. 20B 26-0157 SDR1 for a major amendment to an approved site development plan review, and special use permit U005300 for the proposed addition of a one-story 1,800 square foot building and parking lot reconfiguration to an existing church development with a waiver of Title 19 development standards for landscape buffer requirements. Staff, can I please get the report?
Madam Chair, staff finds that no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance has been presented to warrant the requested variances for the proposed building and for the patio cover. As a result, staff recommends denial of the variances and the major amendment to the previously approved site development plan review, subject to conditions if approved. Thank you.
Thank you. Is the applicant in the audience at this time? Thank you. Please come down and state your name for the record.
Good evening, Madam Chair and the Commission. My name is David Webb, and this is a first for me. Been at this location for 8 years, and as far as the patio, didn't know that I needed an approval for the patio to be there, and as you stated, it's mainly concerning the distance. As far as the additional building being built, and we request a waiver. So in the process of it, we kind of went through the process and asked for guidance from McKinsey. And she just said, you know what, it looks as though that you're headed in the right direction, but there's some things that's going to come up as far as the distance and also the patio cover. So we did everything that they requested of us, and we just asked them to move forward.
Perfect. Thank you. At this time, I will open up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move to the members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Hi. So I wanted to ask, the building that you're bringing in is standard sizes, correct?
Yes.
And that's why the walkway between the two buildings can only be the 6 foot 9 inches, correct? Yes?
Okay, yes.
Okay. So on the next page, you have landscaping in that area that obstructs that walkway between the two buildings. So I would ask, as one of the conditions, that that landscaping at the corner of that building, literally between the two buildings, those, I think that I can't tell, they're trees, plums?
It's 4. It's 5. It's five plants.
Those plants be moved to a different location, such as potentially the north side of the sanctuary or somewhere else on the property?
Okay.
Is that something that you think can be done so
Yes.
that that walkway is wider?
Absolutely.
In that area. I understand that the awning, that variance is because typically it needs to be a 6 foot distance from the building. It's not attached to the building, correct?
Correct.
And it is permanently attached in the ground?
It's not permanently. It can be removed.
It can be moved.
Yeah, but it's not permanently. I mean, it's bolted down.
It's bolted. Is there an ability to move that?
Yes.
Would it obstruct the landscaping in the rest of the?
Yes, but It can be moved, but the whole purpose of that is when we have a little gathering, that's where we went to because of the smallness of the building. We went back there and did fellowship.
Okay. So based on my understanding of this, the portable building is a standard size that you want to add. You needed certain room for parking. You can't move it away much more from the other building because then you begin to hinder the amount of landscaping. So at this time, I think that for me, if you just move that landscaping and widen that walkway between the sanctuary and the fellowship hall, I would be inclined to support this. So are there any other questions or concerns?
Commissioner
Yes. Oh, yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess I just want to, I've got a couple questions. On your landscape plan, if you can just kind of explain to me, like you've got some of your species, you have nothing listed, but then some of the species do have a quantity. So for example, your Mexican fan palms, which I would, if they are going to be put in, humbly request you select a different species because they don't particularly provide shade.
Absolutely.
Right? They're just basically big sticks. And you're in an area that is a very high urban heat area. So anything you can do to try to provide shade and mitigate some of that urban heat impact is great. And I am a strong believer that Mexican fan palms do not do that and Mondel pines do not do that. So anyway, but I want to go back to the commissioner's suggestion about removing the landscaping. How many trees would you then lose since you're already short a couple trees on the?
Well, those are not actually trees that
That's
provide
just-
shade, so we wouldn't lose much there. And I'm in full support of removing the palm trees. I mean, we need something that's going to provide shade, and that's not a tree that would provide shade. So I'm in full support of that.
Okay. And then, so you had 4 palms listed, and then you have Mondel pines, but you don't have a quantity listed. Are you putting pines in there as well? I'm looking at your landscape plan, and it says Mondel pine, 24-inch box, and then it has 2 dashes, which to me is indicative of.
I think those are the boxes that would be on the corners. That's something that can be considered, and we need to possibly look at that because we want to make sure that we provide what the city is requesting of us, and also make sure it's enough shade because just like you say, it's a desert area where we at, and that's the whole purpose of us moving to this project because we want to beautify the location where we at.
Okay. Yeah, and again, do whatever you can to reduce that urban heat island impact and reduce any energy burden on your buildings as well, because if you have shade, that means, you're not getting as much heat into your building and as much air conditioning and all that. Okay, so does this have to go to City Council? Is this final action tonight? This is City Council? Okay, so could that be something that can get worked on between now and City Council, is switching out your palm trees and your pine trees?
Yes.
Okay. And then the other request, and I recognize it's an additional cost, but the standard language that we use in Ward 6 for trees, and again, it gets you a better head start, is rather than 24-inch box, because that box designation doesn't always mean you get the size tree that we're anticipating. So the language that we use is a large, fast-growing tree with a 3-inch caliper 6 inches above grade. And so if you're willing to accept that condition instead of your 24-inch box tree designation, I think that would be very helpful for, again, making sure you're getting the right size trees and to get a good start on that shade.
Okay, can I get a copy of that language that you just
I'm going to ask staff if they can craft that as a condition. And maybe if you're comfortable with it, sir, we can just also put the condition about the palms and the pines, and then you can work on different species.
Yes.
Okay.
Staff, are you able to craft a language?
Madam Chair, they're working on it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So the standard tree language, no palms, no pines.
Okay, Madam Chair, through you, I think we have a few added conditions to read into the record, if I may, to application 260157 SDR1. The first one being fast-growing large shade trees with a minimum 3-inch trunk caliper measured 6 inches from the base of the trunk shall be planted in lieu of 24-inch box trees. The next added condition would then read, the 5-gallon shrubs located at the northeast corner of the Fellowship Portable Building shall be relocated to the northeast corner of the site where space allows. And the last added condition would be the use of Mondale pines and Mexican fan palm trees shall be prohibited. Thank you.
And it's not my motion, but are you okay with those conditions?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thanks for bringing this forward.
Thank you. And with that, seeing no other comments, Commissioner Walters, are you prepared to make a motion?
I appreciate your conditions, so thank you. Yes, I move on item 26-0157 to approve with staff conditions. Do you agree to staff conditions?
Yes.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, this item will move forward to City Council on August 19th.
Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we are going to do something a little bit different. I will be hearing agenda item 21 and also 24, given the nature of both applicants being on the same street and in order to have just a little bit more efficiency and avoid redundant commentary. So with that, I will be opening up agenda item 21, 26-0160 VAR1. Applicant owner Richard Paul Vandenberg for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow existing residential accessory structures, detached carport and sheds that do not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for separation, setbacks, and aesthetic compatibility at 6512 Echo Crest Avenue. Also opening it up for agenda item 24, 26-0168 VR1, applicant owner Miller Living Trust, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow existing residential accessory structures, detached carport, and pergola that do not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for setback, separation, and aesthetic compatibility at 6504 Echo Crest Avenue, Ward 6. Staff, can I please get the report for both agenda items? Thank you.
Madam Chair, no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance related to the physical characteristics of the properties have been presented to warrant the requested variances. As such, the hardship is self-imposed and therefore staff recommends denial. Please note additional documentation of support was received after publication for both items. Thank you.
Can I also receive a staff report on agenda item 24? Thank you. And with that, I will turn over to the applicant. Please state your name for the record.
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, Denicio Gordillo, 9500 Hillwood Drive, Suite 201, Las Vegas, Nevada 89134. Here on both of these items representing the property owners. First, I want to express my thanks to planning staff, the building official, and the code enforcement officer for the patience that exhibited in dealing with these two projects. These are existing structures. Let me do with number 21 first, Mr. Vandenberg. So one shed has been there since 2001. The second shed and the carport have been there since 2005. So pretty much over 20 years for these two structures on item number 21. I would submit to you that the length of time that they've been there, painted to match the house, that they are in fact compatible with the area, have not created any negative impacts to that neighborhood. It's a cul-de-sac here, very tight-knit neighborhood. They're all in support of both of these applications, 21 and 24. So there have been no negative impacts that have been associated with these structures in 20-plus years that they've been there. So we respectfully request approval of item 21 first, and then I'll get to 24, and we agree with all conditions of approval. On item 24, same thing. Both the pergola and the carport have been there since 2005. And actually what I did is some case history research on this, and it looks like a construction company, which is no longer licensed, came into this neighborhood, well, not just this neighborhood, but the adjoining neighborhoods as well in 2005. So if you look at the aerials in 2005, you'll see all these accessory structures that were constructed at that time, that same year, various parts of the year. So with Ms. Miller, same thing, over 20 plus years, painted to match. I don't know if we can bring up the, here, let me see if I can bring up the picture for the front. It's painted to match the home. We appreciate, we understand staff's recommendation of denial, but again, in this case, there have been no negative impacts associated with these structures, 20 plus years on this neighborhood, doesn't increase traffic, does provide a reasonable alternative use to the property as well. Both of these property owners are elderly, they appreciate the shade. We worked with the building official to ensure that after your consideration, should you consider in approving these applications, we are able to get permits for both of these. We have to do kind of a reverse engineering, so that'll take some time, and that's where the patience came in with your staff. So we appreciate that as well. Item 24, respectfully request your approval as well, and we will comply with all conditions of the if approved.
Thank you so much. So with that, I'm going to open up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment, turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you, sir, for bringing these forward. And we've already approved 2 of these, one on Dana Springs, another one on Echo Crest. As you noted, there was a contractor back 20 years ago putting these up at, a pretty good clip, and a good percentage of these houses in this area actually do have these carports. And so while if it was a one-off, it may not be harmonious and compatible, I would say that I believe that the sort of pervasive nature now of these structures has made it sort of the character of the community, and it is harmonious and compatible. With the pergola on item number 24 and the shed on number 21, I recognize the shed is very close to the house, but I don't believe that it is a problem. I don't believe that it is not harmonious or compatible with the neighborhood. It's not even visible from the front. And so unless any of my fellow commissioners have comments or questions, I'm prepared to make a motion on 21 and then a separate motion on 24.
Seeing none, please make a motion.
Okay, for item 21, which is 26-0160 VAR1, I'd like to make a motion to approve, subject to all conditions, and you already said it, but you agree to all staff conditions?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days.
Okay, thank you. And then for item 24, 26-0168 VAR1, I would like to make a motion to approve, again, subject to all conditions, and you agree to all conditions.
We do as well.
Okay, thank you.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that item is also final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. Good evening.
Thank you. And with that, we move on to agenda item 22, 26-0163, applicant owner Suerte Siete, LLC, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests at the southeast corner of Fairhaven Street and Lake Mead Boulevard, Ward 5. 22A, 26-0163, GPA 1, from RNP, Rural Neighborhood Preservation, to TOD 2, Transit Oriented Development, Low. 22B, 26-0163, VAR 1, to allow an 87-foot lot width where 100 feet is required. 22C, 26-0163, Z011, from RE Residence Estates to C1 Limited Commercial. Staff, can I please get the report?
Madam Chair, staff finds that the proposed transit-oriented development low land use category is compatible with the surrounding land uses and the 2050 master plan and recommends approval of the general plan amendment. However, the subject lot does not meet the minimum lot width requirement for the current or proposed zoning district. As such, the proposed rezoning represents a self-imposed hardship, and staff recommends denial of the rezoning and variance requests, subject to conditions if approved. Please note that additional letters of protest and support were received after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Hi, Brandon Potts, 4945 West Patrick Lane. Thank you for having us tonight and listening to what we've got. I've also have the applicant here, Mr. Adam Patel, who may have some things to talk about as well. What we'd like to just do is just make a quick note about the surrounding area. Obviously, to the east and the south, we have commercial use, and this corner lot here, in order for it to be operate properly, the east side has loading dock area. Oops, sorry, and this side right over here. And then on the south side, there are dumpsters and things there that really make this lot not conducive for residential. And so the general plan amendment obviously is addressed that somewhat. Making this a lot C1, the difficulty is obviously the 100-foot width. It's 97 feet as it exists now. Public Works asked for 10 more feet if they're going to dedicate that portion of the street, which would make it 87 feet. And I believe that the applicant being here and talking about what sort of uses might be conducive to this lot with residences on the across the street to the west and to the north might be beneficial to help discuss how we can operate and make this a C1 zoning.
Hello, Madam Chair and folks at the commission here. It's been a while since I've spoken at a commission meeting. Yesterday, I received a call.
And sorry, real quick, can you please state your name for the record?
Oh, sorry, Adam
Thank you.
Patel. I'm the owner of the lot. I've owned this lot for about 21 years. And
Sorry, can you please state your name for the record?
Adam
Adam
Patel.
Patel, thank you.
Want to go here?
Oh, okay. So I've owned this lot for about 21 years, and during this time, I've contemplated many, many things to do with it as well. And I've been waiting for the area to actually accept something that we can do with it. And I think it's now come to the point where it can. And as I explained to Ms. Walters yesterday, I sat down with the Planning Commission, I think about 10 years or so ago, and it was in the county. And one of the suggestions, they said, well, they would support a C1 zone for this based on the condition that if I annexed it into the city. So I did that, I annexed it, and then I've been waiting for the right time to actually find a tenant or something to propose to the city. And I've received calls for, as I explained to her, liquor stores, this drug dealers is what we call marijuana dispensaries, pain clinics, and I've refused those just based on my beliefs. And also the neighborhood doesn't need that. But something has to be done. I've even contemplated personally building a house to live there, but it's impossible. With all the noise, the meat smokers that come into the shopping center, all the garbage dumpsters that are banked on the south side, and even on the east side, that driveway, it's just like all pickup trucks and delivery. So, as I indicated to her yesterday, if we can find a solution which makes you happy, and I would be more than happy to develop it, I'm open to suggestions. But there's just no way there's going to be any residents here. We did discuss, again, possibly putting apartments, but I don't know who would want to live with meat smokers, industrial trucks coming in day and night, and dumpsters at the garbage end on the south side being picked up. I personally wouldn't want to live there. Otherwise, I would move there. So I am open to suggestions. You folks have any ideas, suggestions, please share them with me. My only one condition is if I put my money in here, the property, has to be leased up. It's simple math. If I spend X amount of dollars and I get an 8% return right now, then I've got to get a return on a property that's better than 8%. And so I'm open, as long as I can lease it. I'm not going to build a structure there where I build it and then, again, I can't lease it. And then we go back to the same old nightmare of graffiti, drugs being used, people breaking in, all these empty buildings that get terrorized. So one of the solutions I've had over the years is we build some kind of proper fence system and a gate system, and we put a business in here that's not open just to the public where they're just driving in there and it's just open season and back to riffraff. So one of my suggestions was possibly like a wholesaler distributor, some kind of a structure here that maybe 2 bays that can park, they can work there, they can have some kind of a distribution or something that can be done there. Or even a small restaurant or something where they open up, you know, they close down and they have a clientele that could be whatever type of a service that would add to the area. So I will write a letter to Ms. Armstrong as I spoke with Ms. Walters, and I was going to do it this morning, but I thought it would be better if we came and visited with you, and thereafter I properly structure a letter to put this out to the city and say, what would you like to see here? How would you like me to do it? I have gotten calls for daycare centers, as I discussed with Commissioner Walters. I've gotten calls from general contractors that want their offices possibly there. One of my conditions has always been to have this lot fenced and gated and all lit up all the way around. That's how I keep all my properties.
And sir, we appreciate that. And I would just say at the moment, looking at this agenda item, we're looking at rezoning, the general plan amendment and the zone. And so I think you can obviously, by all means, I would encourage that you work with Ward 5 and the planning commissioner as well as the city councilwoman's office on potential site uses. But at this point in time, I think, are there any other comments you have regarding the rezone? Or if not, I'm certainly happy to open up for public comment.
Other than, yes, you should make it a C1 zone, and you have the power in your hands to always have design review to accept and reject. And I think then we continue to move forward.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So with that, I will close, and then I will open up for public comments. Or anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment, turn it over to members of the commission. Commissioner Walters.
Hi, yes. So this is a very unique property, as you know.
Yes, ma'am.
Because it's on this block with the commercial, but it faces residential half acre. You're absolutely right. It is not conducive to any residential establishments. The neighbors are not thrilled about a continuation of the shopping center. As I understand, that would not be your intent. And like you, I don't see residential. So I don't see residential area right there. So that sort of puts it in this in-between state. I'm very, supportive of this transit-oriented development and question, C1, even though it's very broad, there are things that I think you wouldn't want to have in that particular location because of the large residential half acre and acre lots next to it that it faces. So, but you're right, you would bring a site plan a site development plan at a later date, and we could consider that at that time. So at this time, I'm more inclined to support this, knowing that with that transit-oriented development, there aren't a lot of other options for what this can be zoned. So if there are any other questions.
Seeing none, are you prepared to make a motion?
I am.
Thank you.
I motion on 260163, 260 GPA 1, variance 1, and zone 1 for approval with staff conditions. Do you agree to staff conditions?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
That would be a yes vote for Vice Chair Slotman.
And yes vote from Commissioner Taylor.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, these items will move forward to the August 19th City Council meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, we are moving on to agenda item 2526-0193 SDR1, applicant Rancho 95 Capital Management et al., owner Masonic Memorial Temple, for possible action on the land use entitlement project request for a proposed two-story, 36,000 square foot office building development with waivers of perimeter landscape buffer requirements and building orientation development standards at the northeast corner of Mesquite Avenue and Rancho Drive, Ward 1. Staff, may I please get the report?
Madam Chair, staff finds that the proposed office building represents infill development of a previously underutilized site that aligns with the revitalization, reinvestment, and corridor activation objectives that are identified in the Charleston area of the 2050 master plan, and that the requested waivers will have a minimal negative impact to the surrounding developments. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the site development plan review, subject to conditions. Please note that additional letters of protest and support were received after publication, and there is a revised staff report with an updated landscaping analysis in your backup folder. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, please state your name for the record.
Good evening, Chair, Commissioners. Lebanon Heaney, 520 South 4th Street, representing the applicant. With me is the new property owner as well as developer of the project and the architect of the project. To orient you to the site, the parcel is located on the northeast corner of North Rancho and Mesquite Street, adjacent to the existing Masonic Lodge church facility, as well as a recreational facility. The proposed project is an office building, two-story, 36,000 square foot office building, centralized on the site. This is Rancho Road, this is I-11 and 95, and this is Mesquite to really the south. To this area is an existing, another religious facility, existing one, and to the west are residences, also farther east, of the lodge, which is to our east, are existing residences. As proposed, this office building will use the existing driveway on Mesquite Avenue. There is another driveway which is farther east, which is adjacent to the ballpark, and therefore there's circulation to the site. There's no access on Rancho Drive, which is the existing condition. The office building, as read into the record, is 2 stories and 30 feet high. There were some waivers requested, waivers and exception requested. However, looking at the plans, we do meet most of those requirements. On Mesquite, we proposed a detached sidewalk in a 15-foot wide buffer area with offset sidewalks. Along Rancho, which is the west property line, there are areas that we may not meet the landscape with, but there are additional area where we far exceed those requirements. Additionally, along the freeway ramp, the I-11 side, we also made sure that we provided additional landscaping within areas that were large enough. Now, according to the staff reports that was posted, there were some waivers that were requested. Along this east property line, we did provide some landscaping. The intent is to keep this as an existing condition because just a portion of the parcel is being used for the office building. As you can see along this property line, there's existing parking that is actually used by the Masonic Lodge. And with that said, I'm here to answer any questions, and we do accept all the conditions in the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So with that, I will open up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you, Chair. I don't really have any questions for you at all. I think the project looks great. I think the architecture is perfect for that location. I understand the need for the specific waivers. We did discuss the orientation of the building to the street, and although that's my preference, staff is supporting that waiver request, and I trust staff usually to do the right thing and make those calls. And as well, I think you've put a ton of trees and landscaping in there, even though you do, because of that east property line, do need a little bit of an exception from that requirement, which I'm supportive of. And I hope Commissioner Taylor is also supportive of that request. I think it's relatively minor. She's ready to pounce, so I'm going to turn it over to her to talk about the trees. So go
Commissioner
ahead.
Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for that just wonderful intro, Commissioner Rogan. No, I just wanted to make sure I was concerned because your east perimeter has 0 trees, but I'm understanding that because it is essentially like you cannot put trees there because of the Masonic Temple. Is that right?
Well, there are a couple of issues. There's the existing driveway, which lines up. That's one. And secondly, a portion of our property is actually used for parking. And then there are utilities actually under this existing paved portion, which is access for both. So trying to redo that and providing the landscaping. Now, our plans do show landscaping. We would rather there are smaller trees than the large trees, just so we don't disturb what's existing in that driveway.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said about what's?
There is some landscaping.
Right. Yeah, actually put your landscaping plan up if you wouldn't mind. Okay. So you're not able to put in like parking lot island trees on that eastern boundary because that's existing parking with an existing building, is that right?
Correct.
Okay, I understand that. So given that and the fact that you are looking for, I can't do math, but about a 20% reduction in the trees because you've only got 45, where 61 are required.
Madam Chair, if I may, in your supplemental packet, there was an error in the staff report, and we have an updated staff report. They're actually exceeding their required trees.
Well then, thank you for pointing out
Yes, they're required to have 50 trees, and they're providing 54.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, so then with just that clarification, and you mentioned that you wanted to put the smaller trees instead of the larger trees, which
Especially along the building.
Okay, and why is that you're not able to put the larger trees or the trees that we have to have a condition on regarding the sizing of the trees as opposed to 24-inch box?
Correct. We would prefer medium-sized trees. They will comply with the tree requirement, but because it's a longer building, in that area, if you put in very large trees, as we all know, sometimes you lose them. So we would rather put in.
Okay, then here is my proposal to you, is if you are willing to put in the fast, large-growing trees with the 3-inch caliper at 6 inches above grade along 95 Rancho and Mesquite, and then the interior trees can be smaller. Is that a condition you're willing to accept?
That's correct.
Okay, great. Sorry, Commissioner Rogan.
And real quick, I'm going to also jump in. May you please also, can you also state your full name for the record?
Lebeni Ohene, Lebene, last name Ohene without an apostrophe, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, Commissioner Rogan, do you have any other comments? Are you prepared to make a motion?
I am.
Well, I think we're waiting for staff to craft. Sorry.
Madam Chair, through you, then that added condition would read, fast-growing, large shade trees with a minimum 3-inch trunk caliper measured 6 inches from the base of the trunk, in accordance with the Southern Nevada Regional Plant List, shall be planted along Rancho Drive, Mesquite Avenue, and I-11. Thank you.
Thank you. And Commissioner Rogan?
Okay.
And Commissioner, we will provide revised plans to staff as soon as possible.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. With that amendment, do you agree to all other staff conditions as detailed in the revised staff report?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that then, with regard to agenda item 25, project 26-0193 SDR1, and make a motion for approval subject to the conditions and amended conditions read into the record this evening.
Motion carries.
Thank you. And if I may, can staff send me the revised staff report that they have? Thank you.
Madam Chair, that item will move forward to City Council on August 19th. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we move on to agenda item 27, 26-0201 SUP1, applicant Posari Salon, owner 1993 Miguel Family Trust, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for proposed massage establishment use with waivers of distance separation from an individual care center licensed for more than 12 children and residential zone properties at 5855 West Craig Road, Suite 105, Ward 5. Staff may please get the report.
Madam Chair, staff finds that the proposed massage establishment use can be conducted in a manner that is harmonious and compatible with the existing surrounding land uses, and that the requested waivers of distance separation are from uses that do not have direct access to the proposed massage establishment. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the special use permit subject to conditions. Please note that an additional letter of support was received after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening. I'm Carrie Catafamo. I am the owner of Posari Salon. We are applying for the massage license. We just need an SUP distance waiver as we have the child care facility within roughly 400 feet of our facility. We do have Jones Boulevard, a major throughway that's kind of a buffer. It's a good 100 feet of street. We also are a full-service salon. We do nails, skin, and hair. And adding massage would just be so beneficial to our business. It would help with everybody there. We also do have one massage therapist. That's all we're requesting right now. She's been licensed for 12 years, and she has spent the last 4 years at JW Marriott. So she's well-established, very professional.
Perfect. And with that, I will open up for public comment on this agenda item. Is there anyone who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and move it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Hi, thank you for coming. I also think that this is a harmonious and compatible request for this shopping center, which is commercial, and the salon is well established with normal operating business hours. So are there any other?
Seeing no other comments, you are welcome to make a motion.
Yes. I motion to approve item 26-0201 SUP1 with staff conditions. Do you agree to staff conditions?
I'll agree to anything, yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, that item is moving forward to City Council on August 19th.
Thank you so much. With that, we move to agenda item 28, 26-0208, applicant owner Canyon Walk LLC, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests located at the terminus of Centennial Parkway, west of Clark County 215, Ward 4. 28A 26-0208 MOD1 to amend the Sky Summit Design Guidelines, Master Land Use Plan, Master Trail Plan, Master Street Section Exhibit, and to redesignate Parcel 3.3 from ML Medium Low Residential to MLA Medium Low Attached Residential, Sky Summit Special Land Use Designation. 28B 26-0208 DVN1 to allow a section of the Sheep Mountain Parkway perimeter wall that does not conform to Sky Summit development standards for height 10.27 acre portion of APN 12623301004 28C 26-0208 TMP1 Sky Summit Parcel 3.3 for a proposed 130-lot single-family attached residential subdivision, 10.27 acre portion of APN 12623301004. Staff, can I please get the report?
Yes, Madam Chair. With respect to the requested modification and deviation, the master developer has provided an architectural review committee letter in support of the requested changes and increased wall heights along Sheep Mountain Parkway. As such, staff recommends approval of the application in which the deviation will be subject to conditions. Additionally, the proposed tentative map meets the Sky Summit development standards, and staff also recommends approval of the tentative map, subject to conditions. Please note, additional letters of support and protest have been submitted after publication. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Please state your name for the record.
Thank you, Madam Chair, Commissioners. My name is Bob Gronauer, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive. I'm here representing the master developer here, Southern Olympia Companies. They are the master developer of this piece of property. It's about 505 acres. We call this Sky Summit. This is actually just across the way is Sky Hills, and just to the north of this, northeast, is Sky Canyon. This master plan community was approved about a year ago. We spent a long time working with your staff and the councilwoman in this area to get this development ready to go. We do have a few preferred developers already that have already purchased some properties in here, and we actually have some construction moving along. This application that's before you today is only a little small portion of our property. You can see I call this, if I get your attention to the overhead. And what I'm pointing out here is we have about a little over 10 acres of property. It's an upside down L, as you can see here. This piece of property, we're asking to change the land use designation from medium low to medium low attached. We're coming in with 130 townhomes that we're proposing, which I'll go through the elevations and lay out the site plan here. We appreciate staff's recommendation for approval. Also with our minor modification and tentative map. The developer here, the preferred developer that will be developing this property is going to be Beazer Homes. What I'm going to show you here next is just some of the amenity outlay here on the property. So this is what is being proposed as I go through. You can see this is more of a bird's eye view of the entryway into the proposed development. You can see the townhomes are going to be 2 and 3 stories. The 2 stories that are attached, when I show you the elevations, are going to be just shy of 27 feet. The 3-story in the middle will be no more than up to 33 feet in height. This gives you an idea of just the entryway here for the property that's located in the master plan community. We will have some amenities located in here in the townhome project, where we're going to have some barbecue stations, some tot lots, a designated park area, dog park, etc. in the area here. So this is part of the package that we're proposing. These are the elevations. These are the rear elevations. What's unique about this is for these townhomes, you do have a driveway in here, and as part of the requirements that we're coming in, a driveway to the garage, that is, instead of like a 3-foot or 5-foot driveway, you have where you can park your cars in here. And in the rear of these, we do have landscaping in the back here, which is something that we've added in the townhome development standards and guidelines. Again, here, this is along the street scene of the rear elevation of the alley that you see. This is the front elevation. As I mentioned to you, this is the highest point here. It's just shy of 33 feet. And then the 2-story areas that I'm showing you here, they come up to 27 feet. Last thing I'd like to just point out is on our tentative map, and as I'm going to show you here, again, we have 130 lots. We have access coming in on the west side of our property located here. We're actually, this is the water tank that's located here, which is property owned by the Water District. So we have Sheep Mountain Parkway, which runs north-south here. As you guys know, that's going to be the major arterial to connecting from the north to the south in this area. Which we are working with the city and constructing certain segments of the Sheep Mountain Parkway in this area. So we are just the entryway into this master plan community of Sky Summit. This is to the south of us is a Centennial alignment. But as you go on the west side of the Sheep Mountain Parkway, that's where we have the new name change, which is called in this area Skyview Ridge Parkway, located here. What I do want to show you is, because as we negotiate these development agreements, and as you know, there are a lot of things that are done in the development agreement, and then there are special development standards and guidelines. In those guidelines and standards, we deviate from what your current zoning code is. And when we do that, we put that package together. One of the things I do want to note, because I know there's typically some concerns with stub streets. And in here, what I wanted to mention here is, as you see in our development here, we do have a stub street which is located here. And then we have the, down in this area here, the hammerheads down in this area with stub streets. One that I do want to point out that we do have Public Works and Fire. They've reviewed these applications, and actually they reviewed these standards before we had these modifications put into the development agreement as a part of this package. That's what you do when you have these special agreements between a private developer and the city when you come in with these type of developments. But in addition, what we have had here is we do have emergency access. So as you come into the subdivision here, you do have emergency access that comes out on the street located here. In the red areas that I'm showing you is because we're required to conform to the code requirements of a 3-point turning radius that is approved by Fire and Public Works. And in those areas, we are providing the required radius in those areas for turning of big trucks and vehicles as required by Public Works and Fire. That being said, I'm excited. Coming in with another development here within the master plan community, and I could answer any other questions that you might have.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So at this time, I will open for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment, and I will take this one. I just want to appreciate all the hard work you guys have done on Sky Summit in general, but also I appreciate you working with Ward 4's office, offering tours to the site and everything. With that, I have no issues with the retaining wall. I understand, elevation and the height variance from that perspective. I appreciate you addressing some of the questions. The only questions that I had as well was just the terminus onto Centennial Parkway, sans the name change. So I appreciate that there is the exit for emergency vehicles if needed. So beyond that, I do know that there might be a few questions on the commission. I have no issues at this time with this application. So are there other members of the commission who would like to speak? Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Mr. Gronauer. It's a nice looking project. I just have a couple of questions. On your amenities for your tot lot, are you going to have that shaded? Is that part of the plan?
Yes.
Great. And then you may have said it, and if I miss it, I apologize. How long are the driveways?
I believe they're 20. It says 20, but that's what I.
Okay.
Yes.
And then, what kind of curb are they? Especially in a compact area like this.
I have no idea. I'm only laughing because I was preparing for other things, and I didn't even think about the curbs.
Okay. Have you done your civils or your surveying already on this?
I have no idea where engineering is. I know they're moving along quite quickly.
Given the concerns that we've discussed in these sort of more compact subdivisions with our curbs, would your client be willing to do the rolled curbs that we have up in Ward 6?
You know what? I would say yes, but I'm afraid that if I say yes and I find out that they're already going through plan review and I got to come back for a condition review, if that's my only fear.
And that's fair. That's why I asked if you knew if your civils were done. So if that's something that you can check prior to City Council, that would be my only concern, because otherwise, I think it's a nice looking project.
I get it. Yep.
So, and I recognize that this is Ward 4, but just for purposes of circling back, if you could let me know, I'd appreciate it. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
And also,
Chair.
I believe we have a comment from staff. Pyatt?
Sure, I was just going to, Madam Chair, Lucian Pyatt for the record, I was just going to jump in and just let you know, on the tentative map, cross sections B and C, or at least B, they have rolled curbs. C is a inverted crown, so that it goes into the middle of the street, and that's just a ribbon curb, 6-inch ribbon curb. So there won't be any bumps, if you will, on the ribbon curb.
Okay, so wait, so the rolled curbs are not, though, into the residences?
They have rolled curb for the private alley sections, and they also have ribbon curb. So
this would be in this. I'm sorry to interrupt. I was going to say,
on the
would that be
tentative
the
map.
inverted?
So cross sections B and C of the tentative map show their curbing.
Okay.
And I believe you won't have a concern with them.
Okay, they're not the curbs that basically drop down.
They're not the R curbs, no.
Okay, all right, great, thanks.
Okay, and are there any other questions from any of the commission? Commissioner Walters?
Yes, I have a question about the layout of the roads. Why is this, okay, I'm sorry, it's on the west side, right at the entrance of the gate. There's a stub street that ends rather than connecting?
In this area here?
Yes.
Yeah, I would believe there would be a conflict with the traffic coming in at that location there. To have that street come out there, there may be a conflict. That's the only thing I think from a circulation standpoint.
So my concern is that all of it is a drive-in community and ends in a stub street in various ways, even like delivery vehicles or, you know, of course, public safety, but also moving vans and things like that. There is no circle. Everything has to back up to get out. I don't have as much of an issue on some of the smaller stub streets, but I do think if there's a possibility to attach that, it's Street E to the entrance, and then at the very southern side, there's a hammerhead. There are approximately 60 homes along that long stretch, and then every vehicle would have to pull in and back up and move out. So the reality of putting like a cul-de-sac or something there that allows you to make a circle and drive out, since this is a one entrance community, right?
Yeah, we've had two options. One, we could have done cul-de-sacs, or what we've done with our guidelines that we're allowed to do is on the stub streets, we got to make sure we show a 3-point turning radius. And so what the developer is showing in these areas here, I've highlighted in red. And even though that's a 3-point turning radius out here coming out on emergency, we do provide those what's approved by Public Works and Fire Department. So that's the design by the developer on that.
I understand, but in my mind, that's not really something that I'm inclined to support. There's a lot of homes and a lot of movement with one entrance. Is there a way to connect the East Street to the entrance so that at least those other 100 or however many homes in the northern square of the community it can be a full circle? They could drive all the way in and around and out, because at this point it's a one entrance in, and then everything is just a long extended stub street.
Yeah, I don't know from a safety standpoint, because again, the entryway coming in here, if that is to connect there, I don't know if that's from a safety perspective in circulation, if that works. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I would also chime in that this is not final action tonight. This is going to City Council, and so there is room, Commissioner Walters, to explore some of these questions. But at this time, looking at the agenda item before me, I can understand that due to also the grading on this side and the elevation, there's a lot of complications, as well as the water, the drainage. And so from that perspective, I am comfortable as long as you have the escape route, which you have shown. The 3-point turns are able to be handled. I understand the gate, and it's not really conducive. You would probably have to rejig this entire thing, and this is a very unique parcel, given some of the complications on the site. At this point in time, I am comfortable making a motion to approve. I understand, Commissioner Walters, there might be some concerns, but like I said, this is not final action tonight, so there is also some room for additional conversations if needed.
Yeah.
And at this time, seeing no other comments from the members of the commission, I am ready to make a motion to approve agenda item 26-0208, applicant owner Canyon Walk LLC for possible action on the following land use entitlement project request located at the terminus of Centennial Parkway, west of Clark County 215, and that includes 28A, 28B, 28C, subject to staff conditions. And you agree with all staff conditions?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Motion carries.
Thank you, and have a good night.
Madam Chair, that item is going to move forward to the August 19th City Council meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we move to agenda item 29, 26-0223, VR1, applicant owner John M. Bailey for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow existing perimeter walls that do not conform to Title 19.08 development standards for height at 5455 North Rainbow Boulevard, Ward 6. Staff, can I please get the report?
Madam Chair, the requested variance is the result of an open code enforcement case that cited razor wire on a perimeter wall at the subject site. Staff finds that the addition of new courses of brick in place of the removed razor wire is in excess of the maximum height standards for a perimeter wall, and as such is a self-imposed hardship. Staff recommends denial of the requested variance. Please note that an additional letter of support was received after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
My name is Paul Labig. I'm in here for representing John Bailey.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to discuss on this project?
Yeah, we had put the barbed wire up and we were asked to remove that, which we did. And then we continued to have some breach over that wall to the north of us that's adjacent to Terrible Herbst. And so we looked in online and we thought we were able to go up to 8 feet. So we went ahead and we had the work done. And what it ended up doing is in the back of the property on the east side on that wall that is adjacent to Terrible's, like the last 30 feet, it ended up being closer to 9.5 feet. So obviously that's why we're here to see if we can keep that. I mean, because it's for the safety of our employees. We run 24 hours a day. And when I say 24 hours, our night shift leaves and they come back and forth throughout the night. So we've been broken into a couple times to have them run into somebody in the lot or something like that. And also, I mean, just the cost of some of the stuff that's been stolen, batteries out of vehicles, blowers, equipment, so forth. So that's why I'm here.
Thank you so much. So with that, I will open for public comment. Is there anyone who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment, turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, sir. I am very familiar with this area. We've done a couple of applications up and down Rainbow. I understand your concerns. I know we've had discussions about walls and lots of questions on this commission about security and height of walls. And so I just would be curious from some of my fellow commissioners if they have any input on the status and on the application.
May I add one more thing? Real fast. The elevation on the other side by Terrible's, because they've had it graded and they have asphalt there, the side on that side is about 1.5 feet shorter than what it is on our side. So,
okay.
I mean, that's why it, just to make you aware of that as well.
Okay.
Because they did have that graded and filled in,
okay.
for the, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Rogan, did you have any comments?
No, I think it's fine, even though you built it without permits. I mean, it's towards the back, as I understand it. Where
yeah, it's like the last 30, 40 feet, I think it is, towards the back east.
And it's just between you and the commercial property to the north, right? It's not adjacent to the residential in the rear.
No, it butts into the rear community wall there, but we have a great relationship with all the people behind us, and there's been no voiced issue or anything, so.
Okay, yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner Rogan. Okay, if nobody else has anything, okay, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve item 26-0223. And that's subject to all conditions, and you agree to all conditions. Is that correct, sir?
Yes.
Subject to all conditions, and you agree to those?
Yes.
Great.
And motion carries.
Madam Chair, that is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. With that, we move on to agenda item 30, 26-0225, VAR1, applicant William Haygood, owner of the Haygood Family Trust, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for a proposed home addition that does not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for setbacks at 4225 Leon Avenue, Ward 5. Staff, may you please get the report?
Yes, Madam Chair, no evidence of unique or extraordinary circumstance related to the physical characteristics of the property have been presented to warrant the proposed construction of a garage addition that will not conform to setback standards and does not meet the intent of the Rural Preservation Overlay District. As such, the hardship is self-imposed and therefore staff recommends denial of this variance. If approved, it will be subject to conditions. Please note additional letters of support and protest have been submitted after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Jason Mayhew, 652 Middlegate Road. I'm here representing the owner on this project. I do have 2 additional letters of approval here.
Yes, you can turn it into a member of staff for the record. Thank you.
We are asking for a variance in the front setback. This is a RE property, so it has a 50-foot front setback. We are asking for a reduction to a 27-foot front setback so the owner can add a garage to park his vehicle in the front of his house. Through the past years, I don't know if he owned the house at the time, the existing garage that was there at one point was converted. This is a kind of a unique lot because down to the south of them is a lot higher density housing there. And on this block of Leon, there's only 3 houses that actually, or 3 lots that face Leon that are RE zoning. One of them's vacant. The other one has about a 40 to 42 foot setback from the front, so that doesn't meet the 50-foot setback that is required. So that's what we're asking for, is the reduction in the front setback so we can add a garage. Open for any questions.
Thank you. With that, I'm going to open up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment and turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Hi, thanks for being here. I also live a few blocks away in the exact same neighborhood, so I want to ask if one of those letters is from Nara or anyone.
I don't recall the
Lex?
names. I don't recall the names on them.
Okay. I did receive some letters both from a neighbor, the one neighbor whose property faces it, and the Nara community signaled that they told me that they don't have any concerns with this. It is a unique property. It has a very tall, high density on one side, and none of the other homes face it. One home, but it is the applicant's mother across the street. So I don't have any concerns with this particular property. There are other properties in the area that have slightly different but similar variances. So if anyone has any other questions or concerns.
Seeing none, you're welcome to make a motion.
Okay, I motion on item 26-0225, variance 1, to approve. Subject to staff conditions. Thank you. Do you agree to staff conditions?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much for your time.
Madam Chair, this is moving forward to City Council on August 19th. Thank you.
And with that, we will move to agenda item 3126-0232 VAR1, applicant owner Just Two of Us Trust, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request to allow proposed front yard wall fence to not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for height and visibility at 422 South Rancho Drive, Ward 1. Staff, can I please get the report?
Madam Chair, staff finds that no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance related to the physical characteristics of the property has been presented to warrant the requested variance. As such, the hardship is self-imposed and staff recommends denial of the variance subject to conditions if approved. Thank you.
Please state your name for the record.
Doug Hughes. I'm the owner of the property.
Is there anything you would like to present on this agenda item at this time?
I wanted to make it look like every other house on the street, you know? And it is kind of loud, so it's really more for like it being loud, Rancho, you know?
Okay.
And I always thought it could be 8 feet already, but I didn't know that it couldn't be because I looked at all the other houses that were built in the, you know, on that street. There's like 3 lots on one side, 3 lots on the other. So
okay.
That's why I'm here, just to ask to see if I can build it. I don't know really why I can't. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. I don't know.
No, thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So with this, at that time, I will turn over for public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak at this time? Seeing none, I will close public comment, and then I will turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Rogan.
I think 2 people have said to me tonight, didn't we already do this one?
It seemed like it. It seems like it was a little earlier last time.
Yeah, if you remember, Doug was here a couple months ago when we had the neighboring property that was asking for something similar. It's the one that I denied and then reconsidered and gave him that wall height. And so when Doug had come to that meeting and when we had discussed it afterwards, and he initially had opposed that, and when I told him what the application was actually for, he's like, I want to do that with my house too. And I told him, well, you better come back quick and get this in. So he did.
Yes.
So it's a similar height, it's a similar condition as to the neighboring property and the properties down the street that all have the taller wall heights along Rancho. It's a very busy street. The justification for it, unlike other neighborhoods, is appropriate that people be allowed to build the solid wall a little bit taller than normal. So I'm comfortable with it. Does anyone else have any comments? Nope. Okay. With regard to agenda item 31, project 26-0232 VAR1, make a motion for a approval subject to all of staff's conditions. And Doug, you agree with the staff's conditions?
Yes.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
One little question. So at this point, my permit was just held up for my block wall because of variance. So now I just go back to the permit and say I got my variance?
So this will be final action unless appealed within 10 days to the city clerk. So within that 10-day period is an appeal period. So after 10 days, then the review can be released based upon if that was the only outstanding comment. If not, you still have to address any other outstanding comments.
Understood. So wait, I get a time, like a couple weeks, and then I go back over there. Is that what you're saying? Yes.
Right. There's a 10-day appeal period for this application. So during that time frame, the review won't be reopened and re-reviewed until such time as lapsed.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And with that, we move on to agenda item 33, 26-0237 VAR1, applicant owner Kindy Cowell Revocable Trust for possible action on land use entitlement project request to allow proposed residential accessory structures, garage and pool house that do not conform to Title 19.06 development standards for setbacks at 7400 Whittick Avenue, Ward 6. Staff, can I please get the report?
Madam Chair, no evidence of a unique or extraordinary circumstance related to the physical characteristics of the property has been presented to warrant the requested variance. As such, the hardship is self-imposed and therefore staff recommends denial. Please note additional documentation of protest was received after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Jason Mayu, 652 Middlegate, and I have the owners of the property here if we need to answer any questions. I have an additional 16 letters of approval here also.
Perfect. Please submit it to a member of staff. Thank you.
Okay, for this particular project, the only thing that we are asking for is a reduction of 5 foot in the side setback. So that way we could add a detached garage here and a pool house that are a little bit more usable than a one-car garage. We are not asking for any other variances or any of that sort. Back in '05, there was a easement that went through here. It was a 20-foot easement that was vacated in 2005. Previously, the owners have permitted and installed and had inspected a masonry wall around the backside of their property there in the vacated easement that was permitted. That is not part of this project at all. We are only asking for the 5-foot reduction in side setback here for this project, which doesn't impact any site visibility zones or anything like that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So with that, I will close and open up for public comment. Is there anyone? Please come down and state your name for the record.
Good evening. My name is Camille Kelly, 7021 Girani Street. Good evening, council members. Thank you for letting me speak. I am a current member of the Shenandoah Owners Association Board of Directors, and I live close to the side of the proposed projects, as do many of my neighbors. I am speaking today on behalf of myself and my spouse to request that the proposed variance be denied for the following reasons. First, it is our position that the proposed variance will cause unnecessary visibility and safety issues for cars traveling through the intersection of Pioneer and Whittick. The property in question sits on the corner of Whittick and Pioneer. There is a stop sign at the end of Whittick and one exiting Shenandoah at Atkins to Pioneer, and the cross traffic along Pioneer North and South does not stop at this intersection. Most of the 80 residents inside of our community use Whittick and Pioneer to exit and enter the community. The homeowners requesting the variance recently erected an approximate 8 to 10-foot high wall within 3 feet of the street, which has already made making a left turn into the community from Pioneer more restrictive, in addition to blocking visibility from oncoming traffic on Whittick when traveling straight along Pioneer. A garage and pool house closer than the required setbacks from the property edge as requested will only further impede visibility at that intersection. Second, we believe that the proposed variance for the garage and pool house additions will affect views in the area, diminishing community aesthetics for surrounding properties, and will generate privacy and noise concerns for nearby residents. Should the proposed structure have windows, this could further intrude on neighboring properties due to the close proximity. Third, it must be mentioned that for the last several days this week, a car has been parked in front of the signs that the homeowners were required to post notifying residents of the variance. This appears to have been done purposefully as in an effort to limit engagement in this forum. The car in question was parked in such a manner that it impeded a casual observer's ability to read the sign without intentionally approaching it and going around the car. If purposeful, this act would deny impact parties an opportunity to engage with the proposal and suggest impropriety on behalf of the parties requesting the variance. Some of the community mailboxes in our community have had master locks tampered with recently, so many of our residents haven't even received mail in over 3 weeks unless they directly visit the post office, so they would not be aware of this variance. Finally, we contend that the home's current layout is more than sufficient to park all vehicles, both for recreation and day-to-day, and as a result, this project lacks the necessity required to outweigh the above referenced concerns. The home currently has a 3-car garage and space to park additional vehicles on both sides of the home, which was established by the previous owner. The previous owner comfortably parked an RV in the space without the addition and newly constructed wall. This variance appears to be nothing more than a tool of convenience for the homeowners to personally expand their home or increase their home's profitability. The proposed pool house could also potentially be used for commercial or rental purposes, further impeding the single-family residential use. The half-acre lot provides ample parking spaces without removing any established setbacks and room for an additional garage without having to exceed the city's established setback lines. In light of the concerns we've outlined, the variance should be rejected. It will negatively impact the neighborhood character, and this area is characterized by open third to half-acre lots, which is quite difficult to achieve these days. It will create more traffic visibility, possible noise, and privacy issues. Removing the zoning restrictions could also block a neighbor's view of the nearby mountainous background or infringe on their privacy, especially if those windows are height above the wall or in the plans. Commission members, we appreciate your taking into consideration the impact these waivers would have on the surrounding communities and those within 1,000 feet of the proposed variance, as myself and my husband. We have lived in this area for almost 24 years, and the loss of any privacy aesthetics, more noise if the additions result in occupancy will negatively impact the quality of life for many of the residents whose properties face Pioneer, in addition to those on Whittick and Michelle Avenue. Thank you.
Thank you. And seeing no other comments at this time, I'll turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Taylor.
Couple questions. Well, first let me make a statement. I was out there. I've seen the site. I've seen the street. I made some, I did the visibility check on Pioneer to Whittig, and I did not see any concerns about visibility at the stop sign. My understanding is that the intent of, correct me if I'm wrong, these are not going to exceed the height of the existing house, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So there is no change in view lines from what is being requested to what exists right now, correct?
That is correct, yes.
And if it wasn't for this 5 feet variance request, they could put this up without any permission from the city, is that correct?
Yes, and we could actually go, we could max it out to the full height if we really wanted to, but we're not trying to do that.
And the full height would be what?
The height of the existing residence.
Okay. And so right now it is not even the height of the existing residence?
Correct.
Okay, and so the only difference is that you're asking for an additional 5 feet outside the variance? I mean, outside of what would be normally required for a setback?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do not believe that views are something that are guaranteed or in the city of Las Vegas for zoning purposes. I mean, I know when I bought my house, I had to sign off on that.
That is absolutely correct. There are, to my knowledge, there are very minimal subdivisions that have it written into the CC&Rs, but from my understanding, there's no HOA in this community.
Okay. I mean, I have, like I said, I've seen this property. what they did in terms of the permitted extension of their yard and taking advantage of that vacation of the easement. It doesn't seem to be an issue with the safety. I think that the design looks to be very beautiful. I believe that it is harmonious and compatible with the existing character of the neighborhood along Wittig, behind on Michelle, and along Pioneer. And so I would look to any other questions from my fellow commissioners or comments. Otherwise, I'm ready to make a motion.
Seeing none, please do.
Okay, I would move to approve item 33, which is 26-0237 VAR1. Oh, I'm sorry, subject to all staff conditions, and you agree to those conditions?
Yes, we do.
Yes, okay, great, thank you so much.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you. And now we move on to agenda item 34, 26-0242, SDR1, applicant Las Vegas Billboards, owner Foster Day LLC, Series G, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for the proposed addition of digital LED electronic message illumination to the north and south faces of an existing non-conforming off-premise sign at 2401 North Decatur Boulevard, Ward 5. Staff, can I please get the report?
Madam Chair, staff finds that because the proposed digital sign will not be in direct view of any nearby residential properties, the sign will remain compatible with adjacent development in the area. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the site development plan review, subject to conditions. If denied, the existing sign may remain with static sign panels on both sign faces. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name for the record.
Good evening. Lucy Stewart, 1930 Village Center Circle, representing the applicant. And again, as staff indicated, this is adjacent to Decatur. To the north, we have residentially zoned property, and to the northwest, but they're developed with non-residential uses. To the north, I believe, is a funeral home, and northwest is a church. And then the property that's in Clark County to the west, I think the next 3 lots are owned by the person who owns this property, that owns the property that the car wash and the billboard are on. And in addition, it's the 31-year-old billboard. We think that this improves the appearance of it. And studies have shown that static boards, because they have the lights that shine brightly on them continuously, are actually brighter and have more light pollution than the electronic boards do, because they adjust. They have a sensor on them, and they adjust it in the evening and at night. So, when it's an overcast day, the lights become dimmer. Also, the applicant is a local, so if there's ever a problem, they can be easily contacted, and they have sensors on it in case there is a problem. It's immediately taken care of. Again, it is a local company, and even though this can't be a condition, I do always kind of state that they sort of self-regulate the content of their boards, and they don't allow any advertising for strip clubs and similar type uses. With that, we agree to all staff's conditions, and we respectfully request your approval.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak? Seeing none, I will close, and then I'll move to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Hi, I agree. I went by here. There are no residential properties that face it. They're all commercial, and I'm ready to make a motion if anyone else has a question.
Sorry, Commissioner Schlottman?
Yes, before we make a motion on this, a question for plan and staff. Condition 4 that says all necessary building permits shall be obtained and final inspection shall be completed in accordance with Title 19. Does that cover the amount of illumination and the nits that they're allowed to illuminate at night?
Yes, our code does address the nits, as the technical term is, that controls the amount of errant light that is allowed to escape from the sign's perimeter.
Okay, so that's all captured in there. All right, thank you. Lucy, make sure that they don't blind us at night going down the street, because I get annoyed every time I go by one of these and they're blinded. I mean, they change the message so quick that you get blinded when it goes from like a darker message to a lighter message. So anyways, keep that in mind.
And with that too, that I think the standard is, I think they keep their message on like a few seconds longer than the standard is. So hopefully it's not our boards.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
And with that, Commissioner Walters?
Yeah, on item 260242 SDR1, I motion to approve with staff conditions. Do you agree to staff conditions?
Yes, Commissioner.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, that is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to agenda item 36, 26-0248, SUP1, applicant owner Art House 4 LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for proposed 8,950 square foot alcohol on-premise full use with a waiver to allow a 0-foot distance separation from a church house of worship where 400 feet is required at 1122 D Street, Ward 5. Staff, can I please get the report?
Yes, Madam Chair, the proposed alcohol on-premise full use is part of a larger 5-story mixed-use development, and the proposed use is consistent with the redevelopment objectives for the area and along D Street. Overall, the proposed special use permit is consistent with the adjacent development and the intent of Title 1909 requirements. Staff recommends approval, subject to conditions. Please note, additional letters of protest have been submitted after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. And is the applicant here at this time? See none, I will move it over to public comments. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item at this time? See none, I will close public comment to move it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Walters.
Yeah, I don't have questions on this. Thankfully, it is a mixed-use development, and I understand that this is harmonious and compatible with the use of this property. So I can make a motion. All right. Item 260248 SUP1, I move to approve with staff conditions.
Motion carries.
Madam Chair, that is final action unless appealed to the city clerk within 10 days. Thank you.
Perfect. And then we move on to agenda item 37, 26-0250, applicant Charleston Mob Holdings, LLC, owner Shadowland, LLC et al., for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests at the southeast corner of Charleston Boulevard and Westwood Drive, Ward 1, 37A 26-0250 ZON1 from T3N, T3 Neighborhood, to T4C, T4 Corridor, APNs 16204111009, 010, 011, 013, and 014, 37B 26-0250 VAR1, to allow an 8-foot perimeter landscape buffer adjacent to a T3 designated or single-family residential district parcel where 15 feet is the minimum required, 37C 26-0250 SDR1, for a proposed 8-story, 206,900 square foot medical office development with waivers of Title 19.09 form-based code development standards. Staff, can I please get the report?
Wow, that was a mouthful. You did very well. Edward Vance with EV&A
And
Architects.
sorry, real quick, we'll have the staff give a report, and then we'll have
Oh, you want to do that first? Okay,
Yes.
fine.
Madam Chair, due to the requested variance, multiple waivers, and exceptions, staff finds the proposed development exceeds the intensity of development that residential adjacency protections are intended to protect. Therefore, staff recommends denial of the requested rezoning, variance, and site development plan review. Please note there is an updated staff report in your supplemental packet, and additional documentation of protest was received after publication. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, please state your name for the record.
Sorry for jumping the gun there. Good evening, and in the interest of time, we'll move through this pretty quickly, but Edward Vance with EV&A Architects representing the applicant. I'm at 1160 North Town Center Drive. I don't even know where I live. Suite 170. And our applicant is behind us, right over here. And so if you have any questions for him, he'll be here for those answers. We're here to present what I consider to be a world-class medical center. It's 8 stories, it's over 200,000 square feet. And I believe it advances the city's vision for the medical district. We think the architecture is modern and beautiful. The landscaping is significant improvement over what you've seen there now, and it provides over 3 times the required public plaza space that's required. There are a number of waivers we're asking for, and in some cases, we're giving more than we're expected to, including parking, wider drives, and again, plazas. So in the interest of time, I'll really turn it over to you to ask any questions of us.
Perfect, thank you so much. So with that, I will be opening up for public comment. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak on this agenda item at this time? Please come down and state your name for the record.
My name's Aaron Zoll, and I'm a resident of the Scotch 80s neighborhood that this project is going to abut up to. And we would just like to express our concerns on the overall scale of the project, both in regards to the height, the 8-story building, and then the magnitude of the parking structure and the proximity of it to our residential neighborhood. And we feel that, you know, it's a lot, there's a lot going on there, and we're worried that the reduction of the landscape buffers with the scale of magnitude of this development would gravely impact like the quality of our neighborhood and kind of hover over our backyards and, you know, limit our enjoyment of our residences there. And I mean, if anything, with something of this scale and such close proximity to this historic neighborhood, I would feel that there'd be a more intensive landscape buffer with like staggered mature trees and just something to really provide an extra buffer between the height of this structure and the proximity to our residences. The 8-story, there's a 5-story medical building just to the east of there, and it's rather large. I live right in Ellis, and you know, you can see people moving around in the building on the upper floors. So 8 stories and that close of a proximity to this residential area, with the lack of the reduction of the landscape buffers, I think would really be a negative, a detriment to the quality of life of this residential area. I mean, having said that, we're in construction, we're pro-development. We love what they're doing with our medical district and what they've done across the street at UMC with the landscape and that extra barrier between the buildings and the street and everything they've done to integrate that. So we'd like to see that continue, that same spirit of including more landscaping with this medical district and kind of improve our neighborhood as opposed to being a detriment to our quality of life in there. And I do appreciate the opportunity to express our concerns and look forward to seeing what progresses in the future.
Thank you. And is that a card you would like to submit to staff, or?
I did the online
Oh, okay, very
thing,
good.
yeah. So I was just trying to keep track of like the different
Nope, not a problem.
points
Thank
that
you
are
so
on here.
much.
But
Is there anyone in the audience who would please come down and state your name for the record? And if there are additional people that are going to be giving comment, feel free to line up as well.
all right, thanks again.
Hello, my name is Stacy Spale. I live at 1223 Park Circle in the Scotch 80s neighborhood. Thank you very much for giving me the time to comment today. The homes that are in the Scotch 80s neighborhood are, for the most part, all over 50 years old. It's a historic neighborhood. The homes along Westwood that they've actually been tearing down for this project were actually built in the 40s and 50s, and they had been in reasonably good condition. Building a very tall building next to primarily mid-century one-story private homes eliminates the privacy of surrounding homes, yards, windows in a way that significantly devalues the property and is not harmonious with the environment. Additionally, the traffic, both foot traffic and car traffic that will be generated, will cause issues for residents of the neighborhood, including uncontrolled street parking throughout the neighborhood. Everything surrounding it on the south side of Charleston is predominantly 1 and 2 stories. As the last commenter mentioned, there is a larger medical building, but it is further east and it is set back quite a ways from the neighborhood. Pressures along the, if they rezone this, it will place, it will be offensively out of place, and rezoning will result in aggressive developmental pressures along the rest of the Charleston frontage, inevitably resulting in the loss of more historic structures and built context that defines the character of the area. Not to mention the vibration of such a large construction project could be very detrimental to the older homes and foundations in the area, which are already suspect to the way they were built 50 years ago. As the last commenter mentioned, I'm not against development in the area. I think what's being done in the medical district is great. However, on our side of the street, we don't have these large buildings. It looks like a beautiful building. It just doesn't belong right there on Westwood. All of the homes across the street from it would be just completely obscured from having any kind of a view at all. It's way too big a building, and it's way too big to put adjacent to single-story, single-family homes. So I would respectfully ask you please deny the application and ask them to find another location for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to give comment at this time? Seeing none, I will be closing public comment. Turn it over to members of the commission, starting with Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you for coming out tonight. I have a few questions for staff and for the applicant, and then I have a few comments and some direction that I wanted to provide moving forward between now and City Council. So I guess the first question is the residential adjacency, and do you have, can you actually put up, do you have the elevations in your packet there? I want that to be displayed.
Yeah, they're all here.
Okay, keep going to the big fancy picture at the end. Thank you. So I think when you look at this photograph, and it's in our backup, you can see what we're talking about here. You have a larger 8-story building there that I think is about 135 feet tall, 137 feet tall. And so that would require a residential adjacency setback of just over 400 feet, which I think is pretty much the distance from the back of that building to the nearest property line to the south, just south of Ellis. Is that correct? Can you just answer aloud? I'm sorry, I see your head nodding yes.
Yes.
Okay. So absent the parking garage, we would meet the residential adjacency setback to the Scotch 80s to the south with that building being constructed. So the real issue are two. One is there are still some single-family residential along Westwood, including one property that's remaining that was not assembled into this larger project, and then the houses across the street on Westwood.
Correct.
And then, of course, the parking garage itself, which is at the closest part to the Scotch 80s, is 35 feet tall. Is that correct?
That's right. Three decks over grade.
All right. I'm looking at the revised report, and I just wanted to make sure that I understood the facts that I understood them are correct. So there's a couple comments that I want to make and why I think that this is okay. First is with regard to the homes that are on Westwood. For those of us that were on the Planning Commission when the form-based code came along Charleston, it was a major discussion in my neighborhood in McNeil and in the Scotch 80s. And for those of you that are here tonight that remember that back in 2019, there was the intense question about should we be building these taller buildings along Charleston Boulevard adjacent to a historic residential neighborhood like Scotch 80s. And with the passage of the form-based code, the answer was yes. There were protections put in place for that, primarily the residential adjacency, as well as pretty much commitments that we'd buff up as much landscaping as we possibly could to provide a visual shield between the residential properties and these taller buildings. With regard to those homes along Westwood, along Payhor, at that time, we knew what was going to happen and what's happening here, which is those old homes would be sold, they would be assembled. We would have holdouts. We'd have this period of transition where you're going to have a large building across the street from a home that was built in 1940. And we anticipated that, we knew that, and we went forward with form-based code anyway. There was a different understanding with the Scotch 80s and the neighborhood just to the south, not those homes along Westwood, not those homes along Payhor, that they would be protected as much as we possibly can. And that's what I think the neighbors are asking for tonight, is do something a little bit more to protect their neighborhood. So considering that the office building would meet the residential adjacency, or approximately meet it, I think you might be a couple feet off. That's not really the concern. 400 feet away from the backyard and along those homes along Park Circle, that's a sufficient distance. I'm not concerned about people being able to look into backyards and to peer into backyards. It's so far away, it's not going to be an invasion of privacy. The issue is with your garage. Your garage is 35 feet tall, 43 feet away, and you're only providing an 8-foot landscape buffer because you want to give us Ellis, which I'm sure we appreciate. I don't think that we need Ellis. It's not on our plans. We don't need that street. I agree with Mr. Soul. We need some more landscaping back there. We need as tall trees as we possibly can. And I think that the way you accomplish that in talking to Public Works is do something with Ellis. I think you can get rid of, the way that it's planned out is 2 sidewalks. I don't even think you need any sidewalks along Ellis. You could build it as an alleyway if Public Works approves. You can keep it as some sort of fire lane, and make that street or make that fire lane as small as possible so that you can extend your landscape buffer. Are you willing to do that?
I think I can do a little better than that.
Tell me.
Without reducing, because I think our friends in Public Works are going to have a word with us in making that any less than 24 feet. There is a 7-foot space we have between ourselves and the adjacent property. We sandwich that garage between the two. You notice we put 8 feet on one side and 7'10" on the other. We're really not required to do the 7'10". I like to balance things, but in this case, if you look right here, and I know it's small, but there's 7'10" there. We're really not required, and Peter, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we have a setback requirement there. He's looking.
we love
I'm
planning
putting you
for
on
the
the
days.
spot.
But I think I appreciate that, and I think what
we can push the garage this way.
Okay.
7 foot, and that gives us the 15. And
Great.
then we can increase the landscaping, and we can make those adjustments before City Council.
Okay, great. I think you're putting staff in a panic because they're not prepared to, they don't have that in front of them now. So
That's okay.
I appreciate you doing that, but I also want you to take a look at Ellis, because I really don't think you need Ellis to run through. Work with Public Works to find something in there. And what I'd ask for you to do, and since we're not prepared to look at new plans tonight, is maximize as much as possible. If you can get to 20 feet on that landscape buffer, get to 20 feet, so that you can put in as many tall trees as you possibly can.
Yeah. No, if they don't want to require that sidewalk, we're going to get 15 plus 5. We'll have 20.
That would be amazing if you could do that. And I think if you do that, you're going from 8 to 20. You're going to be able to put in large, fast-growing trees, and I'm going to use the Taylor approach to trees. I'm going to need you to put in, 4-inch caliper trees, 6 inches from grade, fast-growing, approved from the SNWA list, at least of an average height of at least 30 feet. Are you willing to do that for me?
Yes.
Okay. And I think that would provide the kind of landscaping buffer that Mr. Soul and Ms. Stable, I think, would appreciate, and would shield those neighbors and provide the neighborhood that kind of protection. The other issue that I had with the plan is I wasn't quite sure about the cladding, and that's the word that I use. I don't know what the architectural word is for the parking garage. I'm not quite sure that's compatible with the neighborhood, so I'd ask you to take a look at different options. I think you have a perforated metal, which I think is great, probably if you weren't so close to that residential neighborhood, and if your building weren't so massively long. I think the width of it along Ellis or proposed along Ellis is 500 feet. Maybe take a look at something else and maybe extend it more from, I think you're only doing it on the first floor of the parking garage on the Ellis frontage, so maybe think about extending it higher so that it's a little bit more compatible with the residential neighborhood. And again, I'm not an architect, Ms. Lebo is, so if she has any thoughts that she would like to add to this.
Okay.
Thanks so much. I think that between now and city council, come up with some different ideas that might be more compatible with that residential adjacency rather than the perforated metal, which may not, even though it may look great in some circumstances, may not be great adjacent to the Scotch 80s.
We'll look at that. Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
The last question that I have is, your building's still going to be about 43, the parking garage is still going to be about 43 to 50 feet away. It's a large parking garage. Sometimes when I'm driving through parking garages, I just hear the squeal of those tires when people are driving on it, making turns. Is there any concern that you have as the architect designer of this building that the structure itself is going to have any kind of noise issues with those residential adjacent neighbors?
Yeah, the smoother we make the concrete, the more the tires squeak. So I guess we could tell the contractor to do a crappier job, a little rougher. You know, that's kind of what you end up doing.
Yeah.
We could let me look at that too.
Okay, sure, great. So those are the three things that I'd like for you to look at between now and city council, because I do think that those would mitigate the issues that neighbors would have. I don't know if I can invite Mr. Soul and Ms. Stable back up. If they have any other issues or concerns or suggestions, I'd be happy to.
Oh, and just please state your name once again for the record.
Oh, Aaron Zoll. And so they waived the landscape requirements for that medical office building complex and garage that front Ellis is to the south. It's between Shadow and MLK. So it's just to the east of you guys over
there?
Yeah, off of Ellis. So one of our concerns with the landscaping, and thank you for, we would definitely appreciate the more intensive, is we'd like to see something wherein it's not just a single row of trees. It's like a more intensive where you have like the staggered rows. Because the issue we have, with that existing garage, they've built right up on the property line to the sidewalk. There's not even like a 5-foot setback or a 15 or anything. And there's little landscape niches, and they planted single trees there. Well, the problem becomes over time, nobody wants to maintain that. So half of those trees have died, and being that they're single trees, now we have this glaring, huge, that one's just a 2-story garage, and it's pretty massive when you're sitting at your house looking at this concrete structure fronting you with the lack of landscaping, and then you have the lighting. Yeah. The other aspect would be on a commercial property with lighting, we'd like to see specific like downlighting only, no broadcast lighting, no intensive like stuff that lights up the garage at night. And then we also would need a shield, like you touched on, when you're making those corners in that garage. Say somebody's working late and they come out of the garage, fire up the car, start driving out. You have this sweep of headlights across our bedroom windows and our yards, and it becomes light pollution. And
no, we're gonna probably screen that completely so you won't see anything coming this way.
That would be great, but on a 5-story parking garage on the levels, headlights, LED headlights protruding.
Guys,
if it's not screened on the levels.
Can I just interrupt this? I'm just going to make a suggestion that
things
perhaps,
like that,
perhaps the two of you can get together and discuss other issues and concerns that the neighborhood has that can be addressed. We don't have to have this entire conversation here tonight, but I think we get the gist, Mr. Zoll, and I appreciate you coming back up.
Taking it all in.
Okay,
great.
And thank you for the opportunity, and we appreciate it.
All right, thank you, and I'm happy to meet with you as well. And Ms. Stable, did you have anything else to add?
Yes, I have concerns about, obviously I have concerns about the project as a whole being too massive for where you're talking about putting it. But outside of that, the street frontage along Westwood, it looks like based in the drawings, it's just going to be a big bunch of concrete, the whole length of it. That is not at all conducive or harmonious to our neighborhood. We moved into this neighborhood, reinvested in downtown because of the historic nature of it. And I would respectfully ask that you reconsider the scale of this project and not make it 8 stories. is ridiculous in that area. Other than that one building that he's talking about, that Mr. Zoll was talking about further down, everything else in that area is like 2 stories, 2 to 3 stories max. This is an enormous building that you're sticking right in the middle of a 1-story historic neighborhood. You know, I am still very opposed to it. I know a lot of my neighbors are opposed to it that couldn't be here today. But I don't know if we get another chance to oppose this at the city council meeting. But, you know, this is just not a great development for this spot. I understand the medical district and what you're doing there is great, but you're shoving this in the middle of our neighborhood. And I'm still very opposed to it. Yes, trees would be nice, but they're not going to cover up the fact that there's 100 and whatever you said, 100 however many feet an 8-story building is going to be. Right now from my house in my family room, I can see the fireworks of downtown. All of that will be gone. I won't have any view other than this giant building out of my windows at night. So, you know, yes, I oppose this. And I really would urge you to please think harder about this. I don't know about the form code you passed, but this isn't a good idea at all.
And Ms. Stable, I'm happy to meet with you after the meeting if you hang out.
Thank you.
Thanks. And I think we've addressed the issue of revisiting the exterior of the parking garage to make it more compatible, as Ms. Stable said, with a neighborhood. And I know Commissioner Lebo wants to say something, so if Chair is okay, if we could turn it over to her.
Just wanted to say thank you for bringing this to us. I think the building is actually beautiful. I think it's, you know, it has a great modern design to it, and really, you know, kind of contrasts with what's going on in that neighborhood, and I think we need to see more of that. My comments are also regarding the parking structure. You know, I think some of the materials that are being suggested could probably be modified slightly to just be a little bit more harmonious with both the main building and blend in a little bit better to the desert landscaping that's being proposed. So one of the suggestions I have is, instead of using a painted off-white perforated metal, maybe doing something a little bit darker, like a bronze that kind of goes along with the mullions that you're proposing on the main structure. And maybe potentially bringing in some of those angles that you have with the mullions and doing something a little bit more decorative on the perforated metal for that structure. The other question I had is, you know, what exactly is that perforated metal? What is the openness of it, and what can we see through that structure? Are we going to see, you know, the concrete through that metal? Are we going to see the cars through that metal? Because that openness really transforms how that metal appears from a distance. And so doing something maybe a little less open on the residential side to kind of screen that garage and the cars a little bit better might be beneficial. So that was it.
It can be tightened up a little bit, yes.
Appreciate that.
If I could add something, Eric Swinside, EV&A Architects, same address as Ed. We did think about the parking garage and those materials, the perforated material. We haven't picked that perforation, the density of it yet. We've layered it. It doesn't come across in these far away elevations, but it's got a rhythm to it. We chose white so that we could do a darker color on the tinted concrete beyond, so that you're not seeing, I was afraid that you'd see with the perforation, a dark perforation, the light colored concrete would just come through. And so we tried to do something different so the light hits it and you see the perforation stands out, that panel stands out. So we could look at it and do some daylight studies and try to park some cars in our models and see what it would look like, especially at nighttime when you have lights on and kind of some of those perforations, the effect goes away because it's nighttime and light's coming through. So we could certainly look into that a little more.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
All of your comments have been very helpful, and we will take them all into account.
Commissioner Schlottman.
Yes, Madam Chair, through you. In reviewing this, And to echo the comments from Commissioner Rogan, we've had the transit-oriented development and the form-based code, which is looking at, you know, more of these structures as they're going up and down Charleston on both sides of the street. And there was a lot of discussion on this before that was actually passed. My bigger concern is, one, do we have the required number of trees on that south property line?
Well, you're going to get more now because we just got another 8 to 15 feet.
Okay,
so we're going to have to re-landscape that whole edge, and there'll probably be more than you require.
Okay, and then
And we'll stagger them too, as he recommended.
that'd be great. Number two, I don't have as big of an issue with the perforated steel. I feel that, you know, you could make this work. You could make a lot of things work. I was involved with a parking garage a few years ago, and one of the things that I told the architect was, you got to make it look good from the outside. I'm tired of looking at these parking garages that look like they were built back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, where they just built the concrete structure and they didn't do anything to embellish the outside. And on this, and that doesn't just go for the side that faces Charleston or that faces Westwood or faces a highway. It also goes for the side that faces the residents.
Right.
Because, you know, the residents that live back there on Westwood and Park Circle and that whole Scotch 80 area, they don't want to look at that. And you know, you have it on the first floor, but you don't have it on the second and third floor facing the Scotch 80s. So I would want to see you spend a few extra dollars adding that on the second and third floor. That, and as Aaron was saying, you know, the LED lights and stuff like that come through, little perforated steel or things like that goes a long way to blocking, you know, these bright lights on these brand new vehicles shining into a dark neighborhood. And then somebody else made a comment about the squeaky tires, and you said you really can't do anything about that, but you can. I mean, think about it. Go into the Cosmopolitan and pull into the Valet. It's polished concrete. And polished concrete that's waxed and sealed, it's real squeaky. And if you go into a painted, like an epoxied floor, it's really squeaky. Go into another parking garage that has a broom finished floor.
Right.
You don't have that squeak.
That's right.
So that, I mean, that's something you can call out as an architect to make sure you have broom finished concrete, and we're not sitting here listening to all these squeaks all night long. So it's a very quiet neighborhood over there.
Agreed.
So those are my comments.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I guess my first question is, we've had this whole discussion, and it's going to be out of our hands. You guys are taking notes, but all of our advisory thoughts may or may not make it over to City Council. And I don't know if Commissioner Rogan plans to shepherd this up to City Council and make sure that some of those very pointed notes make it into revisions. So that's my first concern, and I didn't know if it made sense to try to craft any conditions with a motion with this, just to make sure, not saying I don't trust you, but I'm just saying, frankly, like as I sit right now, I'm not in support of this. I think it's too big. I understand the TOD, I get it, but I feel for these neighbors. I think this is oppressive for them to have to deal with. But I also understand the importance of bringing new development into the medical district, and I think it's critical for our city. However, I am really torn, and as I'm sitting here right now, I just don't think I'm a yes on this. And that is why I really want to make sure that these things that we're talking about make it in as a condition, not as a, oh, we'll think about it, because then it's going to go to City Council, and we've had this great, robust discussion, and it may not be there. So that's sort of my opening thought. I had a specific question on some of your plans to Commissioner Schlottman's comments about parking structures. You've got this mural, and I didn't know which way it faces. Does the mural face into the development, or does it face out towards the residences?
It faces.
I mean, maybe the residents don't want a mural, but.
That one's on the zero lot line, the current zero lot line that's kind of facing east. And so we very likely have another mural if we got rid, like Ed said, got rid of that 7-foot buffer between this parking lot and our garage, we'd have to enclose that whole thing. It's a code adjacency issue. So we'd enclose that. That's why we had the mural, so that you didn't have just a big wall of concrete adjacent to those properties as an eyesore along Charleston. So certainly understand the desire to keep this aesthetically pleasing from a number of scales to a number of different users, so we're open to those.
Yep, okay. So, I mean, and then the other question that I had, and I know it's getting late, was, we talked about the landscaping, we talked about conditions. What was the other question I had specifically on this? So I guess maybe, I don't know, Commissioner Rogan, if for the record, we could just identify your bullet list, and the bullet list basically of things that have been discussed, so that then that is a specific inventory of items that they have to take back and work on before it comes to City Council. And maybe that's something that we can do. Oh, I know what it was. I appreciate very much Commissioner Rogan putting in my language about tree calipers and distance and everything, because it is going to be important to make sure that these are decent sized trees. But the other thing is that I know it's not on your landscape plan, but just in case anybody thinks they want to put a pine tree or a palm tree in, I would appreciate it if you could not do that, because they don't create shade and they are messy and high maintenance from the pine side.
Of course.
Commissioner Taylor, are you done? Or?
I think so. I just wanted to see if Commissioner Rogan thought that that was a smart idea, to at least inventory the things we want them to detail, or bullet list the things we want them to go back with, if we're not in an appetite to actually create conditions.
Right, and I'm not in an appetite to create conditions, because I think that the primary idea of increasing that landscape buffer, there's a lot of moving pieces that there's going to have to be a lot of work, I think, with Public Works and with Fire, that we weren't prepared to do in the past week, and I'm not prepared to do tonight, which is why I went with the direction route. And I'm happy to be a shepherd and bring the lamb to the City Council, if you will. So to that extent, I will want to meet with you after this meeting to see the progress along these topics. One is maximizing the landscape buffer through whatever means, as long as you're not coming back here for any waivers, exceptions, or variances. Two, you've gotten some direction on what types of trees and the size of trees, large, fast growing. I don't need to repeat myself on that. So that's the second bullet point.
Yes.
The third bullet point is with regard to the parking structure itself, make sure that again, I'll use my word, that the cladding material is something that's compatible with the neighborhood, not so much the architectural desires, but something that the neighborhood would be inclined to support, and because they're the ones that have to look at this every day.
Right.
Also with the added concern that we want to make sure that the lights at night are shielded from the adjacent neighbors as well. Fourth is, along with, you'll have residential adjacency standards on lighting. Please comply with those. That's a given. And then I think fifth was, am I missing anything? Oh, the noise mitigation. Let's investigate that. I want City Council, if they can, to make that a condition.
Room finished concrete.
Right. So I think those are the main concerns that I have, and I say this to the neighbors. I live in a house that borders commercial property on Charleston, so I am very cognizant of residential adjacency, as our code enforcement knows. I'm very cognizant of light issues, of noise issues, and of landscape waivers and variances. So I want to make sure that those concerns are addressed. But considering the volume of requests that we have tonight, just moving this forward to City Council and you working on it between now and City Council, and if you need a continuance at City Council, please avail yourself of that so that this is done right.
We will.
Any questions for me?
Another bullet point that he made, we will not light the side of the rear of the garage.
Okay.
It's another thing he didn't like, so.
Well, and I just want to make sure that we address that appropriately, so that there's not security concerns on a dark Ellis.
Understood.
So.
Yeah.
It'd be a low lit.
Yeah, we'll have full
security.
cutoff, yeah.
Right. That's for you to discuss, and then we can have that discussion before City Council, okay?
And Commissioner Rogan?
Yes.
And item number 6 or 7, to screen the rest of the south elevation of that parking garage.
Thank you. Yes, screen the entire building. Okay. Right, if you folks could hang around and you folks could hang around, since this is the last item, I'll have a discussion with you afterwards. But unless there's any other comment, I'm ready to make a motion. With the direction that's been given and the existing conditions, knowing that they're going to change between now and City Council, you agree to the existing conditions in this amended staff report today?
Yes.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right. With that being said, make a motion to approve agenda item 37, project 26-0250, parts A, B, and C.
Keep these drawings handy.
But I am a yes.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you.
Madam,
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, this item will move forward to the August 19th City Council meeting. Thank you.
And with that, we move to our final item for the night, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Planning Commission unless that subject is on the agenda and is scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion on any single subject, as well as the amount of time any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing no one coming down for public comment, I will close the public comment and the meeting is adjourned.